Welcome and happy Saturday. Hope you guys can hear me. Hope you guys can see me. Hope I haven't destroyed the broadcast before it started. Me and my cat ears and my brand new computer. Screw HP, by the way. I am William. This is the Sci-Fi Center Live, one of our overnights, number 3, taking you from Saturday, August 6th into Sunday, August 7th. For those of you on the East Coast, that's only about a half hour away. Coming to you from my in construction sort of studio things. This is going to get a little bit better. Like I've been telling you guys, the backdrop is going to get better. I just got in the boom for the microphone so that I won't be dealing with this. Even though it's a cool mic, I want to have it like all the other guys that I stream with. Everything looks all cool and professional. And then I have a different setup that'll look a little bit better. If you've ever watched, I think, like Phil, when you guys see Phil has the setup to where the cameras are set away and you can see the front of his desk and all that. That's what I'm going to have. I have a whole setup for you. I'm going to have I have my championship belts, my wrestling stuff, and some pop figures and stuff. So it'll look less like a garage and more like a setup. So, like I said, only been at the YouTube thing for a little while, and like I said, getting better every time. So let's see who's in the chat. Okay, what's going on, Donovan Markin? I see the space that Eric Davis did with Porter. I thought it was very insightful. Okay, we'll probably end up bringing that up. We've got a couple articles that we got to bring up. Rational Skeptic, thank you for joining me. Let's see. They should not cancel Batgirl, just replace Keaton with Affleck and release the film in theaters for people. Okay, so we're going to address this is one of the main topics I'm going to try to address. And when we address these things on Saturday night, I try to do it in a low-key, more relaxed forum than kind of what we've done over the last couple of days, because it has gotten kind of heated and the situation was really new. And it's really easy to say what they should have done without knowing. None of us have seen the movie. Only the test screeners and the executives have seen the movie. So it's really tough to not be the fly in the room and say what they should have done. And we also don't know what their long-term plan is. If they have a long-term plan and this movie didn't either meet the quality standards of it or didn't fit in what their plan is doing, it's hard to say go ahead and go forth. Like I said, this is going to be a painful growth period. Not painful, but it'll be an adjustment period. But I'd rather have what I have going on now than what I've had going on since 2013. I just feel we're in a better place. But we're gonna touch on the Batman, the Batgirl stuff in detail as soon as I let Dade in here. Hello, Stella. I still need you in as an admin, but I got to get with Enosh on how to do it, how the code is sent. But we'll talk about that offline. All right, so it's okay. Tony movie, Chappie, D9, Nell Blumenthal. Okay, obviously a District 9 fan. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for spending some of your Saturday night with me. Yeah, this is another thing we're going to top on, because a lot of people are worried about talent relations and things like that, where the people who want to work with Warner Brothers. I got my own opinion on that. But before we go any further, let's go ahead and bring in my co-pilot for the evening. Ooh, I don't like that setup. There we go. How you doing, Thade?
Hey, what's up, William?
Just made it through another week. One more week without my laptop, which means one more week that I have not been able to do a Friday stream from the center, because without the laptop, it's really difficult. But according to HP, who along with AT&T, I have come to loads. I should have my laptop, my very expensive warranted laptop, back to me by the end of the week. So hopefully we can get back to doing our Friday shows. Although I do like the Saturday night overnights. It's the end of my work week for the most part. A lot of the news has had a lot of time to catch fire and burn down to harmless ashes, to where we can discuss it without really going crazy, and spend a little bit more time on it. Like I said, a lot of my time when I'm in the store is compressed. So I like the Saturday night thing. And like I said, when I'm done here, I turn off the computer and I go about my weekend or go to bed. I don't have to drive home and do all that. All right, so let's see. How you doing, Ryan? Believe in the Plan, DC Studios. I like the name already. I'm looking forward to hearing more insights about DC. So yeah, we got plenty. And I think I'm gonna frame it in a way that I think is very hopeful. Yes, AT&T sucks. I did a poll
Very
on my
much so.
personal, yeah, I did a poll on my personal website or my personal Facebook page. Like, I loathe both AT&T and HP. What company is worse? And then, like I say, AT&T edged them out for my followers. So, how you doing, Vikram Behera? I hope I pronounced that right. Lone Wolf Entertainment, which I think is Brodan. I'm pretty sure that's Brodan.
Yes, that's Brodan.
Okay. I will be robbing you soon, Bodan. But we need to discuss and see if you've added any more to our inventory. So, like I said, haven't been able to pay attention to you and Enoch loading up on our stuff. All right, so sort of a big week. The first thing I'm going to do before we get to the Batgirl stuff is last night I did a group watch with some friends on a movie that should have ended up in theaters, but because of the awful 2018 release of The Predator, which might be one of the worst movies I've seen in the last 25 years, they were a little bit gun shy about putting this into theaters, which is a damn shame. This movie was great. I'm glad I got to watch it at all, but it was great. And that is, we're going to go ahead and share my screen. Predator or Prey is what I got. I got to get that out of my head. The movie is Prey, and it may be the second best film right after the 1987, the original. In some ways, it's a little bit better, but everybody's going to stick with the original.
Did you
Go
get
ahead.
to watch it
Yeah.
in a? Did you get to watch it in Comanche?
No, I watched it in dub. Listen, I don't. I started to watch it in Comanche, but then I'm like, I don't. What are we doing? I don't. I'm okay with subtitles and stuff like that, but I gave it like 2 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I got to switch it back. So, what was the? I didn't do it. So, but you did you?
Yes, I
What
did.
was the advantage? What was the advantage of watching it in Comanche for somebody who watched the dub?
Well, it kind of gave me the same feel as the movie Apocalypto did years ago.
Okay.
I have a tendency to watching things in the language that they were meant to do, and Dan Trachtenberg talked about he meant this to be put out originally in Comanche, but they did the English version because he didn't think that a whole lot of people would like the dub. But I mean, I haven't watched it in English yet, so I really couldn't tell you what the difference is going to be.
Did your version have subtitles? Is that how they did it?
Yes, it had
Okay.
subtitles.
I usually watch the subtitles because I watch a lot of Japanese movies. I watch a lot of foreign horror, and generally it's subtitles. I mean, that's comes with the game. Last night I was just either too tired or too lazy. I didn't feel like doing the reading. I did the dub. I don't, and I enjoyed the movie. A lot of the movie, and once I watch it, I'm like, what they were saying. They did a lot in this movie without saying a lot in this movie.
Oh yeah,
The cinematography was great. The shots were great. The design of the Predator was it took some getting used to, but once I did, that face mask was kick ass. Everything about this movie, this is the movie I needed this week, and I loved it.
I'm gonna answer our Wix in the chat real quick. It's actually a totally different version of the film. You can't just change the subtitles.
Yeah, there's two different versions on there.
There's two different versions. When you go into Hulu, it'll give you the two. You go over and it'll say Comanche version on Hulu, and you can click on it. But it's an entirely different version of the movie.
Yeah, and this movie, out of all the movies that centers around ethnic groups, Black people, Hispanic, Native Americans, this does Native Americans, in my opinion, and I'm not one, but as all the movies I've seen with the stereotypes and it's not done well, and they're out there, this movie is the traditions that they're doing, the ceremonies that they're doing, how they hunt, how the family dynamic between her and her brother and her mother, the village, everything was just to a point, and I really loved it. It was just them. I love Predator 2 with Danny Glover in it. But as they progressed on with the Predator movies, it got further and further away from the prey and predator dynamic, which is the one-on-one, the chess match that takes place between what is being hunted and who is doing the hunting. And I thought that they brought that back to the old school, where are you? Where are you? Find me, and it was very intense. There were certain things on there where the intensity that he does, Trachtenberg, the way he builds it up is perfect for this movie. I thought that even more so than the original Predator, and I know I'm going to get people who are going to say this is blasphemy because you can never touch the original of anything. But I thought the invisibility was used better here than it was in the previous movie. A lot of it is because this movie's 300 years ago, and they did a good job. Even though the Predator is high tech, and I'm not going to spoil anything, the Predator is still the Predator. He's still an alien that comes from outer space and has the means to do a lot of really crazy shit and a lot of really brutal stuff. This was actually more brutal than the original movie.
Well,
but
this was also the Predator in this. What a lot of people aren't getting, and I'm hearing a lot of arguments. A lot of what people aren't, negatively saying about this movie is they don't like the design of the Predator. And the thing is a lot of people don't realize that there were, just like there's many different, ethnicities of humans on this planet, the same is amongst their breed as well. There are different varieties of Yautja, the predators.
another thing was about it is you could tell that this was, even though the Predators were advanced, that this was older tech. The cloaking device was older. The everything that was older. He wasn't wearing armor. He wasn't armored from head to toe. I
No.
thought that was unique, and he was. You could get to him. So the balance. I like the way the playing field because of those things, and you could see over the next 300 years they figured it out. They learned. But I like the way that even though you were dealing with this 8-foot tall monster who was this master predator, because this was an older version of him, the playing field was a little bit more balanced than it was in previous movies, where he still goes to house and kills a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of death and dismemberment in this movie. It had all 3Ds, so you know it passed my test. 3Ds, if for those of you who don't know, death, dismemberment, and destruction. And holy cow, it gave it to me. It knew what I needed. It knew what I needed on a Friday night, and it said, William, all 3Ds for you. But I love the movie. I loved it. I gave it. If I was going to give it out of 5, I give it 4.5.
Well, me and my viewing companion last night, we gave it an 8 out of 10. So we enjoyed it quite a bit. It's one that I'm going to watch again probably tomorrow. But I'm going to watch the English version tomorrow.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. A lot of Easter eggs.
There too. Quite a few. Quite a few callbacks to the original movie too.
Yeah. And one of them is, without spoiling it, I thought it's kind of jacked up because it's a foreboding that I'm like, oh wow, that sucked. But we'll talk about that all up there because I don't want to mess it up for people.
Yeah.
The first 3 Predators are still the best for me. Okay, so I don't include Aliens versus Predator. Those movies, I hate those movies, especially Requiem. But Predator, 1987, I love Predator 2. And Predators with Adrian Brody, I love that. I can't believe that was 12 years ago that movie was released. It feels a lot more recent than that. But I love Predators when they're on the planet, the Predator world. Now, the 2018 version, like I said, I had to watch some awful things to get that movie out of my head, and re-promoted that movie. And I remember telling them, because whenever you promote a movie and you do special screenings, there's somebody from the marketing company out there, and we, along with them, we take the opinion of the movie. And I felt so bad for the person that was there, and he was laughing at me. I had nothing good to say about this movie. I think my exact quote was, I need to go watch porn to cleanse this movie from my head. It was an awful movie. And they were trying to start another franchise from that movie. And I'm like, not only do you not need to start a franchise from that Trek, you need to fire people over that movie. And dude, because of that movie that we had got this on the small screen.
Normally, I like Shane Black movies, but I don't know if Shane was doped out or on something when he made that movie, but that was not a Shane Black movie.
That was an awful movie. No, we're not going to spoil anything from Prey right tonight. We're just going to give you a basic idea of how good the movie was. The movie, I loved it. Like I said, I think it would have done well. I think it's a high budgeted movie. I'm not sure how much it cost to make. Let's see, because putting it in theaters, who knows how much it would have recouped. But I think once word of mouth. I think it might have had the greatest weekend because of the previous movie, but I think it once people like me, start talking about it, it would have. I think it would have had legs. Like he said, I can't find the budget, but I'm gonna assume that it's up there. They didn't do a lot of marketing for this movie, but I'm gonna assume that it was up there as far as budgeting, just because of visual effects alone. The Predators visual effects alone were different.
Brodan said 90 million it took to make it.
That's still not a lot of money for a high tech movie like that. What that means, so I think it could have made 90 million. Who knows? But like I said, I think so many people were so gun shy of that awful.
We also have a super chat. You also have a super chat.
Where'd it pop up?
It's 1,000-word pictures in the comment.
Gotcha. Dude, you know what? One of the things that I learned, and John Campia, thank you. I know you're probably not watching this, but when I did a tour of his setup, when he does the tour, he has a separate smaller screen, and he can look at the chat from there. Now Ray Ora does it for him, but for a solo gag like me, I'm going to bring that up, and this is the way I can. Not only can I highlight that, I can highlight the member chats from the separate screen. So that's coming too. So little by little. All right, 1,000-word pictures, dude. This movie Tusk is the most disturbing movie that I've ever. One of that visual that is your avatar. It always makes me cringe, man.
Dude, Tusk was a good movie, though. Tusk was a good movie. Disturbing, but good.
Yeah, it's like Society if you ever seen that movie.
Yeah.
1,000-word pictures, $5. Thank you for the super chat. I've always been curious. Did predators make their tech or hijack it from smarter species? I can't see them being smart since they drool. Yeah, I am going to assume that it's a little bit of both. I am going to assume that
according to I can actually answer.
No, I'm answering first. Then I'll hand it to you. All right.
I can actually answer this question.
No, don't make me mute you. Don't make me mute you. Seriously, no. Let me get to it real quick. I think it's a hybrid of both. I think they are smart enough. They're capable of interstellar travel, and even if they did steal technology from somebody else, they still have to be smart enough and intelligent enough to adapt it and retrofit it to what they do. So I think it's a little bit of both. All right, Brodan. Fade, go ahead.
According to the old Dark Horse comic books, they assimilated a lot of tech, but a lot of their baseline tech was their own. They invented interstellar travel on their own, and a lot of their earlier, more primitive type weapons were their own, but they also assimilated tech from races that they fought.
Yeah, that's basically like the Borg, or like even mankind. As we go, if you look at like military tech, there's a lot of our military tech over the decades that we've adapted from things that we saw. We have versions of certain assault rifles. We've adapted our assault rifles because we've seen like SKs and AKs, which are crappy aim precision weapons. But we've taken the fact that you could run them over with a tank and they would still use, and we've integrated that into our stuff and made it better. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Now, the Dark Horse, this is something I'm going to have to touch on way, way down the line. And I want to know how much of, because I love the Dark Horse stuff, even though they kind of perverted it when they made it in movies. But how much of that have they adapted into these real things? I hope a lot, because I grew up loving that. And I love the way the Dark Horse stuff was black and white, when Aliens vs. Predator, black and white, the way the detail. That's where I first got my hands on Sam Keith artwork, because he would do the covers of a lot of that stuff. There was just a lot of good stuff back in the 90s. All right, but thank you for the super chat. But I hope we answered your question. 1,000-word pictures. All right, who else am I?
Do you remember Alien Earth War?
Yes,
that was a good storyline.
That was Sam Keith's covers, because I remember it was controversial at the time, because Sam Keith has a certain style of way. I should have brought it up, of drawing women, and they're really curvaceous. And a lot of people thought that was misogyny at the time, but we're talking in the 90s. Now we've all grown up and we're all adults now. But Sam Keith was one of my favorite artists. He did the Incredible Hulk for a while. I believe he did the Max. I mean, the Max. Speaking of when we go back to Sci-Fi Cinema Presents and one of the list that we have to, the backlog we have to do, the Max. I don't care if nobody watches that stream. We got to do a deep dive on the Max.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Underrated stories of all time. I love the Max, and I love the cartoon, the Max. I didn't think a cartoon could get weirder than a comic did, and they did. But Getting back on topic, Lone Wolf Entertainment, Brodan. Uh, I want to know how he does the O like that, but I know what you're talking about, William. Yeah, I love that same view. Yeah. What he was talking about. Oh, okay. Where were we at?
One of the things in the movie, you said something along the lines of something that concerned you in the movie that you didn't want to spoil.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on. Let me. Yeah. So, Jacob, I cannot answer that right now. Um, oh, well, I just kind of did actually, but yeah, we try not to put any spoilers in the chat, guys. And I'm assuming even on the Hulu that a lot of people still haven't watched it, but that doesn't go into too much detail. But yeah, there are some things in there. They really, I love it when they make movies in the franchise that don't forget the other movies. So many times people will take the brand name and they will want to do their own thing and they want to run away from what makes the series great. They did not. They ran. Prey runs right at what Predator is, and I love. She's great. Amber Midhunter. Am I pronouncing her name right? Amber Midhunter.
Yeah.
Is she carries the movie?
Mid Thunder.
Is it Mid Thunder? Mid Thunder. I'm sorry.
Mid Thunder. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me bring her name up here. She's hot too. Yeah, Mid Thunder. She's 25. Man, she did not look that old in that. They did a good. I mean, I'm assuming she's supposed to be a teenage girl. I don't think she's supposed to be in her 20s in the movie, but she looks like it. She carries it. Amber Midthunder, April 26, 1997. Yikes. She's old enough to be your daughter, Thade. She does great. Her family does great. Even the supporting characters, even the guys who in there that are misogynist douchebags said that you can't hunt. You're a woman. Why don't you go back to? And they even make some really chauvinistic jokes, you know. But hey, I think it's quite obvious that she's the hero of the movie, or the heroine. She proved herself.
Like that her brother believed in her.
Yeah, I to bring it home. I really like that, and it wasn't about him being the big brother, little brother, and demeaning her. Even though there's, without going into the spoilers, he comes out on top in a certain situation, but he doesn't use that to destroy her. He uses it as a teaching moment. And that, from what I've heard, that is emblematic of that culture. You don't break people down. You give them the things. You give them a life lesson.
The Comanche people, they don't tear each other down most of the time. They have, it's like you said. There's teaching. It's a teaching thing.
Okay, Arwix. I want Dan to make a comic book. I do too. As long as he does it. Listen, 10 Cloverfield Lane was epic. I loved it. To that last 10 minutes. Last 10 minutes of 10 Cloverfield Lane, I think, went completely X-Files and Scooby-Doo. It's John Goodman. This is one of John Goodman's best performances. He sells the whack job that he is. Spoiler alert, it's been 10 years, I think. Probably a little bit, 8 years. Everybody in that movie does a great job. And for those of you who don't know, 12 Cloverfield Lane is about characters who end up in a bunker, take refuge in a bunker. John Goodman's character is like a conspiracy theorist. Armageddon guy has been waiting for the world to end. Now it looks like it's finally ending, and it takes place from the most part from the point of view of inside this bunker, and the mystery is outside. You know something is out there, but you don't know what. Towards the end of the movie, it kind of really gets goofy, and all the good that John Goodman does in this thing is kind of unraveled in like 5 minutes of the last movie, and it gets kind of dumb. But it's kind of like Us with Jordan Peele. I love Us, one of the better horror movies of the last 10 years. But sometimes movies like this go too far to explain things that don't necessarily need to be explained. But
to answer Film Watcher's question, 10 Cloverfield Lane is a sequel to Cloverfield. It is in the same universe, and it involves the same alien invasion type of thing. But to get a full answer, you have to watch the Cloverfield Paradox, which is not that great of a movie.
Don't watch. The only thing that we get out of Cloverfield Paradox is that goofy monster meme that Enoch uses every 3 minutes, because that's where that came from. The last scene of that movie sucked, and they released that. I remember watching that because I was watching the Super Bowl, and they say, "Hey, by the way, we're throwing this movie out on Netflix." No advertising. I didn't even know the movie existed until it came out that day. And you know why I didn't? I'm glad I didn't, because it would have been a letdown. But yeah, I think judging from this and some of his other stuff, like I said, if you take this movie and you take 10 Cloverfield Lane, even if it's the last 10 minutes of it, I feel the same way about him as I feel about James Gunn. And I think that this guy has the tools to deliver a story and make me care about the people who are involved in that story, to make me care about even the dog. I cared about whether the dog makes it in the life. Don't
I
spoil
know.
it,
I
anybody.
was so worried about the
Yeah,
dog.
don't spoil it. Don't spoil it, guys. But everybody in the movie that makes it to the screen, I care about, and I think that's what Gunn does. You may not like the tone sometimes and the goofiness, but a storyteller is a storyteller is a storyteller. If I give you a different topic, I think these guys could switch the tone and do whatever you needed them to do. They have the tools, and yeah, Dan Trachtenberg did great here. I love this movie. Let's answer some of the
Did
questions.
you ever see Red State, William?
Yeah,
John Goodman was good in that one too.
he was good in that one. I thought he was better in Cloverfield, but it's a close. He's not far behind.
He's doing a show right now called the Righteous Gemstones.
Yeah, I saw
Uh,
that. With what's his face? Enosh's stunt double. What's the guy?
God, I forget his name all the time.
And I was just talking about him today. He got the. I
He
make fun of
did
you.
he did Eastbound and Down.
Yeah, Danny McBride.
Danny McBride, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I tried to watch that, but I'm not a comedy guy, guys. When everybody, the last time I paid to see a comedy, I actually paid was Tropic Thunder, and I have not paid to see a comedy in a movie theater since. Okay, let's see, Tony. I'm just gonna say Tony. I don't know. Or Chappie. I'm just gonna call you Chappie. Sadly, I haven't seen play and might be in the minority, but I do not think there is a bad Predator movie in the franchise. Chappie, listen. Hey, man, you know what? You get the enjoyment. Each of us are going to get a different level of enjoyment out of third movies. I would rather drink out of the toilet than ever watch that movie again. But you know what? There are people that were with me that night when we promoted the movie that had a good time. I thought it was painful, but you're now lesser of a viewer for I just thought, and I thought that the worst thing is that it shook the confidence of the franchise to the point where this movie didn't get to the big screen where it belonged because they had to
Tell you the
second
truth,
guessing about
William.
themselves.
Tell you the truth, William. I couldn't even finish the 2018 movie. I couldn't do it.
It was tough. Jacob McKenzie, thanks for chiming in. I feel that Prey was well executed. The story is well developed along with the characters. Yes, the original for me always set the standard. The special effects and sounds were very organic nature for. So what I'll say about that, if you judge them side by side, Prey, in my opinion, is a slightly better movie if you judge them side by side, given the fact that we've had progression. The original 1987 is iconic because it's 1987. It's the first one, and everything is going to be judged by that standard. Carl Weathers gives a great performance. Arnold Schwarzenegger gives what could possibly argue is a career performance.
We've got another super chat, by the way.
Okay. All the guys in there, Jesse the Vadi Ventura, who to me was just a wrestling announcer before I even knew a lot about him. I ain't got time to bleed. It's all this is true, and like I said, I think it's executed better in Prey because we have better stuff. But like I said, it's like Blade Runner to me. I think this movie augments the original Predator, and in some ways Predator 2. Because without spoiler alerts, pay attention to the end of this movie, and you'll see what I mean. All right, super chat from 1,000 more pictures. Thank you again. I've always been curious to Predator. This is you already get that one. Sorry, I already read that.
No.
Was that it?
Oh,
here we go.
No. There's another one.
He did too. All right.
There you go.
All right. Okay, 1,000 word pictures, $5 super chat. Thank you. Are there any comics that alert across the engineers over with the Predators? Yes, Aliens versus Predator. You can get it in the trade paperback form. It's by Dark Horse. It came out in 1990. I actually started in 1988. I actually have it. That's the only thing that sucks about not being at the center. Is before I could just run and grab some off the shelf and say, "Here it is." Yes, and it is a very good story. When it comes to Alien and Predator interaction, I ignore the films. I thought the films blew for me. The first one was okay, but Requiem it just made a meaningless slasher movie out of my favorite monster kinds.
That and you can barely see anything in that second movie.
Yeah, the swimming aliens, all that goofiness. But to answer your question though, yes, if you go to Amazon and look up Aliens versus Predator, you'll see it, and they actually give an origin story, some of which they used in the movie, but not very well. But you see the engineers, and you see their ship, and you see the depository, and you see all the eggs. So yes, the engineers are there, and you see the ship and the iconic the seat, the pilot seat. You see the pilot in there. So yeah, when we one of these days we'll go over certain things like that. I have it in on my as seen on TV section, and I actually have a display of it, and it actually sits inside a rubber egg. Um, but yeah, yes, there is. So go ahead and Google that. Aliens versus Predator by Dark Horse, to answer your question there. All right, did I miss any other super chats? So, let's see. Yes, smash the like button. Make you not happy. Make me happy too. All right, let's see. Watching it now on Hulu in the middle of the Holy Scene. Oh yeah, that scene was great. That whole scene with the bear, like I said, I'm not going to tell you even how it ends. You've seen the trailers and stuff like that, but there's more to that scene. There's more kick-assery to that scene than just the bear being lifted up and all that. There's some psychology. That's another thing I left out of my review. I love the psychology of the movie between her figuring things out and the way the Predator approaches certain individuals, and certain situations. And it is traditional to the way the Predator does it, especially in the first two movies. Okay, the first one was mostly okay. They got crazy when it came around because, like I said, I had read Aliens versus Predator came out in 2004. I remember because that was the last movie I saw before Uncle Sam sent me on an all expenses paid trip to the other desert that is not Las Vegas. And that was a movie that I saw before I got on the plane. I remember that to Fort Lewis. I had built up what I thought Aliens and Predator was going to be via the Dark Horse stuff. So I had that mythology in my head, and I just couldn't shake it. Aliens versus Predator original wasn't an awful movie. I thought Requiem was bad. But like I said, to actually see Aliens versus Predator, I never thought that they would get together and get, even though they own the same IPs, and actually do it. So they did it. So give them credit there. But like I said, Requiem was horrible. And then when it comes to the Alien films themselves, after Aliens, I tapped out. And I've seen all the Alien movies. Alien 3 with the cardboard dog alien. Ugh. Alien 4, and when they clone, it was like, oh my goodness. Alien Resurrection, it just, even though you had a Ron Perlman, Winona Ryder, Sigourney Weaver, I mean, the scripting and the concept of that movie let down, which was an all-star cast. But now I liked the newer Alien movies that Ridley Scott was doing. I liked Prometheus. I liked the one that followed. I wish they would have gone on. I'm going to wait for the series that Fox is putting out and see if they remain true. Maybe it's a Disney. It's technically a Disney property now, even though it's on Hulu and Fox. Maybe I would say yeah, because they're probably going to want to make some revenue from it. I mean, granted, they're making revenue with Hulu, but there's a lot of people who don't have Hulu who want to see this. I wouldn't be surprised if they did a limited release now that the word of mouth has come out and people can forget about the 2018 movie as far as business purposes. I know there's some out there that still like it, but as far as business purposes, it didn't do what they needed it to do, and it scared them. You might get a limited theatrical release, and if so, I usually don't do this when I've seen a movie already. I might go see it because I want to hear the sound.
There's a couple of theaters that are doing limited release.
Yeah, because if they do one in Vegas, oh, by the way, hi, Bell Rev. I don't get to tune into your show as much as I used to because of my work schedule, but you are my favorite F-bomb factory. And if I tune into your show and I don't hear F-bombs, I want to type in and say, are you okay? But you're one of my favorite ones to watch, especially your late night streams. In fact, you kind of inspired me to go late night. So let's see. Yeah. And I'm, like I said, physical media guy. I know physical media is 6 feet into the grave with one foot stepping out, but this is one of those movies where that sound, and not just the sound, the silence was so noisy. Because if you've ever been in a military situation where you've had to go out on FTX, which is field training exercises, and you're out in the pitch black, and you're out in the middle of nowhere, and it's dead silence, right? But you can hear the silence. You can hear that rumbling around you, that nothingness around you, and this movie captured it. I'm like, wow. I was sitting there
Sometimes the
watching it like this.
sometimes the silence is worse than the noise.
Yeah, it's because it's because of the anticipation, and a lot of it is you building it up, and it's great. I truly believe Prometheus was alluding to Predator. I don't know if they were alluding to the Predator. You could be right. We hopefully someday we'll find out. But it was definitely leading to an engineer war. And what I thought was going on with the engineer war is that one half, and Ridley Scott hinted to this having to do with something with Jesus and religious connotations. And the reason why he said is they seeded this planet, and then they saw what happened there, and they said, we got to wipe this race out. They're barbarians, and they're going to spread galactically. One half of the engineers said, you know what, we're going to send these poisons, we're going to send these pathogens out there to wipe them out from the ground up, and we're going to load these ships to them out. And the other half of the engineers that said, no, we have to let this race progress. Once we create it, we can't dictate their progress, even no matter how bad it is. And I think that was the war in between. And I think that the reason why all these ships crashed all over the place was that the engineers that did not want the human race wiped out won out enough to where they crashed their ship, and that's how you got to where we got now. Boards of Predators involved? Possibly. I would. That would be a better inclusion of the Predators than Aliens versus Predator for me. That would be kind of cool. So let's see. We got. I have to find out. I mean, obviously, they said there's limited releases. I don't know where you're at, Thousand World Word, but check your local listings and see if there's somebody doing it in a local theater. Otherwise, I'm almost guaranteeing that's going to have to end up on VOD. Especially, like I said, with the Rotten Tomatoes being where it is right now. I know Rotten Tomatoes doesn't mean much to a lot of people. It might mean something to execs who were scared off by the last movie. If they see the water is a little bit more warmer to this one, they may put this out there. Because you got to realize it is August, and Academy, the year, we only have 4 months left in the year. So there's a lot of things. Cinematography, this could be up for. Sound editing, this could be up for. And if that's the case, you want to give it a limited release so it can get, nominated for Tech Awards. So let's hope that they see it. But tell you what, Thousand Word, I will find out.
I'm looking into it. Give me a minute.
There you go. And maybe we can find that out for you, because like I said, not everybody has Hulu. And some of you guys are in places in other countries. I know when we're on the Poindexter Lounge, some of you guys are on other continents that don't have certain streaming services. So it'd be good for you guys to know. Ooh, I might try. All right, so let's see. Make sure that we didn't miss any super chats. Yeah, Danny McBride. I call him Enosh's stuntman. So, yeah, Prey was great. Like I said, I don't have too many bad things to say about it. Jacob McKenzie, I would give Dan an X-Men movie or a Green Lantern movie. I would. Like I said, there's a couple creators out there right now that if I break down.
I think Trachtenberg could probably do a good X-Men movie.
Yeah, I think he could do a Green Lantern movie too. I think they both could switch it up. Let's not forget. Okay, this I have not seen. Let's not forget Trachtenberg. Dan Trachtenberg also directed the short film for the Game Portal. All right, good to know.
For the Game Portal, yeah. There was a short.
No, you listen. You do what you need to do to get through the Saturday night there, bro, Dan. All right, so just making sure. All right, do you think Image and Dark Horse Comics need to make a comeback for comic book movies and TV shows? Which titles do you think would work? Oh man. Oh,
so much.
There's dude. That's like a whole. But let's start. We already said one for Image, the Max.
The Max.
I would have to see the Max, and I would love to see like a Damon Lindelof or somebody I would love to see the Max done like David Fincher style, like the way he did Mindhunter, Concrete. I would love to see Concrete from Dark Horse. I would love to see Aliens versus Predator, but in
What
a
I would
way.
really like to see from Image, I would like to see Gen 13.
Oh wow, not Morgan Fairchild, Caitlin Fairchild. I remember when that came out.
Yeah.
J. Scott Campbell. That was what put him over the top, man. Gen 13 is great. Wow, there's a lot. I mean, dude, you could. I don't want to see Spawn. I don't want to see Spawn. I think Spawn, and I know we're going to eventually see a Spawn movie. I can wait on Spawn. The reason why is I don't. There's been so much about Spawn that could become cliche if I'm explaining this right, and the way movies are done because we've seen so many types of horror, demonic, and all these types of movies. It would have to be a special filmmaker to do Spawn in a way that I don't think it could fall for the same old. It's like a zombie movie. Somebody's telling me, "Oh, we're going to do a zombie movie." I've seen 1,000 zombie movies, or but have you seen 28 Days Later type zombie movies, or vampire movie? How many vampire movies have come out to the point where the genre got ran into the ground? But 30 Days of Night, now we're talking. So if we're going to tackle Spawn, I would have to have a special filmmaker make that one. As far as Image goes, man, this is another reason why I'd want to be sitting in the store looking because I could just go on. I could go on there. Angela, which is a Spawn character but not Spawn. I could see Angela. I could see
I
Violator.
think they'd more likely do Angela now in Marvel because she's part of Marvel now.
Ugh. I don't know, and I might end up getting a Thor: Love and Thunder version of her. So never mind, I'll pass on that. All right, let's see. I just got to make sure I'm not moving anything before we. All right, yeah, we brought down come answer now because they made mimic creatures, but they do build their own tech. Falconer was proof of this. All right. Screw you, Rodan. I think that should be our greeting. Like, live long and prosper. It's just screw you, Rodan.
Screw you, Brodan.
Yeah, whatever. Oh wow! Listen, this hurts. Listen, I already got to take it in the nuts from H Barts, who actually puts in super chats to make fun of me, and then Monkey Jeebus and all the other knuckleheads in the lounge. But Stella, this is like Brutus getting stabbing Caesar. This hurts, man. I don't know what to say. I think I might have to time you out, man. That's cold. All right, Rational Skeptic is always there for me. He treats me okay. William, are you hyped for the new Alien film? Listen. Ridley Scott could tell me that he is working on Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, and I'm down for it. And I will always give Ridley Scott the benefit of the doubt until I see the movie and don't like it. I hated Thelma and Louise. That's the only time he's let me down. But I'm not into romantic comedies and whatever the hell that was, or drama and all that. And but there has not been a Ridley Scott movie that has let me down to the point where he's not my favorite director. It's Ridley Scott, Michael Mann. I got a couple other ones that are, but those two are the ones I start with. Michael Mann can do no wrong for me, and then there's another. I'm going to do a breakdown of him somewhere down the line. I got so much content that just erupts in my head. But yes, I am hyped to see the Alien film that Ridley Scott's working on because I think he's going to tie it into what he was doing. And Ridley Scott is really good with that franchise. I can't wait. I know he's 83 years old. I hope he lives forever. But once they start reaching their 80s, and he's working, this guy works as hard as he does at 83 as he did when he was in his 40s. So you're like, dude, hang in there, Ridley. I know you gave me Blade Runner 2049, executive producing, gave me that with Hampton Fincher and Denny Villeneuve. And I know I said I wouldn't ask him, and I'm knocking on wood right now. I know I said I wouldn't ask for anything else, Ridley, but keep kicking that can around long enough to make this movie. I am hyped as hell for this movie.
William, check the private chat real quick. I gotta put a message to you in the private chat.
Fuck no. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, go ahead and can you send it to him?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. Oh, did I drop an F-bomb on you? I'm sorry, but you'll see why I just dropped that F-bomb when you see who he's going to bring in. It's got to get ugly here, folks. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I am super hyped. anything Ridley Scott does, I'm down for. He's the only one that can restore the Alien franchise to where I think it needs to be, because I think he has this basic understanding to it that a lot of people just don't have, and a lot of places just wow. Okay, I think Zeno just took a shot. Alien Covenant was not supposed to be until Alien 3 or 4th movie. The studio idiots and think they know. Yeah, that pissed me off because he had his storyline laid out, but because Alien Prometheus, or not Alien Prometheus, was such a complex story that they were afraid that they were going to lose the audience if they went along that same road. You're exactly right, Backstar Afro, and that is regrettable that they did that. And this is the thing. I understand there's always going to be studio interference because it's their movie. It's their life. There's their livelihoods on the line as well, and there's their legacy on the line. But I sometimes wish that they would sit down and rethink these things, because Covenant was a great movie. I love Covenant. There's a shower murder scene in Covenant that goes up there with Psycho for me, where the alien just gets in the shower and just kills a couple out there that are making out, and I'm like, wow, that was some Friday the 13th shit right there, and it was great. I do it in slow mo because the way the alien kills this guy. Is it a spoiler alert if I give away what happened to Alien Covenant? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Nah, it's been long enough.
Okay, so two man, husband and wife making out in the shower. All right, they got the music on the background. Alien sneaks up on them. You see the tail. There's a glass shower wall behind them, and he's backing up to it because they're making out. It's heated, and you see the silhouette. You see the reflection, or the alien coming through. She sees it right as the alien puts his inner mouth through the glass and through his head. Brains everywhere, all over her. And they show her getting killed off the camera. You just hear the scream. Classic, man. Classic. All 3Ds, death, destruction, dismemberment, everything was there. Yeah, Alien Covenant was good. But once again, you're right. I wish they would have done this, because I really think it will be a true crime if we do not get a resolution to what we saw in Prometheus. Prometheus was one of the greatly disturbing movies I ever saw, because the aliens in there and the infiltration and the infection, it just grows. It takes a lot to gross me out, and Prometheus grossed me out in all the right ways. So yeah, let's hope that we can get to that.
I like Covenant too. Covenant wasn't a bad movie.
No, I love Covenant. Yeah, he did, and I need to find out who that is. I got to pull that up someday. But that's what Ridley Scott is doing for the most part now, and I think that's the way he's kind of, the reality of being 83 and taking it a little bit easier so he can stay around a little bit longer. It's the same thing he did with Blade Runner. He's executive producer. I think he's in that pilot seat with you, but a director is another director does the day-to-day stuff. So, all right, is this going to be a mistake that you talked me into, Thade? Whatever.
Yeah, we won't know till he gets here.
He's here.
I didn't drop one F-bomb. You did. Understand that. You already passed.
Wait, hold on. Does he not have a jackass alarm? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, how you doing, Rodan?
Hey, guys. I just got done. I watched Prey last night. We covered it like 3-4 in the morning. It was great.
Yeah, I saw that. But you were covering at the same time I was watching it. So I'm like, I don't want to breathe over there because you might have spoiled it by accident for me.
I was spoiling, guys. I didn't give a shit. I was going in, talking about everything. But yeah, I know exactly what Easter egg you're talking about, and I got that same eerie feeling. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, there goes my happy whatever.
We can talk about it. I want to talk about it with you guys after we do this show, because I have a few concerns myself.
Yeah, there's 3 big ones.
It's Fede Alvarez is the guy who's doing the next Alien movie.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is supposed to happen. He had a script and everything, and it just didn't come together. I remember this.
I am hyped for the new Alien show coming by Noah Hawley. It will be about the corporation, so I am hyped to see what they do with that and talk.
They're actually talking. It's not Weyland Yutani. It's another company that's going to be the main focus of the Noah Hawley show.
Yeah, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
No, it's
efficient aliens. Energy. Aliens.
It's a company that's involving themselves with AI and transfer of the human mind into AI.
Oh, like Westworld. Azteca Aguilar, number 4. Third film was supposed to be about the engineer's home planet and describe as an all-out war movie between humans, engineers, and xenomorphs in the middle too. Fox really screwed it up. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
But yeah, Fede Alvarez is doing
There you go.
the next Alien movie. He's actually a director, a newer director from down here in Texas.
Deep down the heart of Texas. All right, Prometheus and Alien Covenant is great if you watch them on a 3D projector. I hope Netflix buys Raised by Wolves. I don't know. I think Netflix is who knows if it's hard to tell what people are spending money on because you hear about everybody tightening the belt, but there are certain things that if they work, you're going to spend the money on. As much as WBD is going to tighten the belt, you think they ain't dropping $15 million an episode on anything with Game of Thrones on it? No. Yeah. And if something big comes along and the money's there, now what they will do, and I hope Netflix does do this, is cut a lot of the BS that nobody's watching and that you don't need and that should have never been greenlit, and make room for some of the stuff like this, you know. But yeah, I hope so too. I like Raised by Wolves, another Ridley Scott.
I gotta watch that show. I've heard great things about it.
It's weird. It is.
I'm not
my problem is
weird.
they canceled it, which sucks.
Well, the thing about Raised by Wolves, and as much as I hate to say this, you had to cancel that show. The viewership numbers, because they were looking up they find when HBO started doing their viewership, and I was hearing from other people that were in a room as far as who help us promote things for that company, people weren't watching it, and that's sad. It's one of the things that you hope comes around again and people appreciate it later on. But for the price tag of that show was wildly expensive to produce, and it didn't justify the people who were watching it. I guess the numbers just didn't justify it, according to them. Like I said, it wasn't a cheap show, so that sucks. And that's why when these special shows come about, other streams and people, no matter who you are on YouTube, put out the word about these shows that you're watching, even if it's in the chat room or your buddies. If you're watching the show and you think it's a kick-ass show, make sure that your buddies are watching it because that's how these shows stay around. Westworld, for me, is one of those shows. I'm pretty sure more people are watching Westworld than I think. I just got a feeling not enough people are watching Westworld. And this is how your shows stay alive. And it's also how your shows, if you love a show and you don't spread the word, you know, a lot of that, it's like a disease in a good way. It's a contagion that spreads, and that stuff reaches to the top. If more people were watching Raised by Wolves and talking about Raised by Wolves, I think it could have stayed on the air a little bit more.
Why do you guys think I keep talking about Tokyo Vice? I want that show to kind of get a full look because I do like Jake Adelstein's story, and I like the idea of actually talking about real journalism, you know, for an entire show. So, you know, do your part, talk about it, never stop talking about it. The lost art of the water cooler chat is what's kind of killing me. That's what we need more of. Just talking about this instead of talking about the dumb behind the scenes stuff with the business. And that's important too. But what's more important is to keep these shows alive that are good and deserve the coverage so we don't get stuck with trash shows to always talk about. These shows deserve its credit and its due. And unfortunately, there's a lot of shows that fall apart because no one talks about them. We're stuck in the same rut.
All right, you could make that political argument, Shifty Gizm. Okay. I've always understood it that it wasn't necessary to Blomkamp that hijacked it. More so, it was Fox that kind of created the situation for it to be hijacked. There was a time where Fox didn't have a lot of faith in what was going on with the Alien franchise, and they were doing their own thing. And we saw what their own thing was, and they weren't on the right track. So, I can understand how you feel on that one. But, hey, let bygones be bygones. If I have the choice between somebody who Ridley Scott handpicks or Ridley Scott himself over anybody else, I'm going to pick Ridley Scott or his lieutenant or who he's comfortable with. And even if he doesn't pick that person, if he's comfortable with how the story is going to roll out with that person, then I'm going to go with Ridley Scott. It's just the way, you know, that's like Michael Mann. When Michael Mann did the Miami Vice movie, the 2003 version, the only person that could have ever done that movie and done it any justice was him, and that's who did it. So yeah, Ridley Scott's word is going to have a lot. This is where me and Rational Skeptic might part ways. Okay, so sorry, William. The Westworld and the future world films are way better than the Westworld show. I love the Westworld show, and that's with Brenner. I like it for what it was. It was released, I think, 73, 74. But for what it is, Westworld, the actual concept that is in the show, expands on that in ways that the movie never could. The movie is a classic all on its own. But where Westworld goes with the concept, and especially where they are now in season 4, this season 4 is the best episode, best season of Westworld so far, and it's the easiest one to understand. So I got to slightly disagree with you there, and I like all of it, but with more time, you can dive. There's a lot of stuff that the Westworld movie starts out, but I always wanted to go deeper with, and I'm able to do in the show. But all this stuff is objective, so I can respect that opinion there. All right. Well, damn, we might not get a Hellraiser series anymore on HBO Max. David Gordon Green was set to direct.
Actually, that's still coming.
I don't know if that should, unless they're going to make it about just Cenobites in general.
It is. It's less about the Hell Priest. It's more about the structure of hell and where the Cenobites come from and stuff like that. But it's still on the production schedule from what I just looked up. So,
by the way, I think it was Dark Horse. John Bolton did the covers. John Bolton did the covers of a Hellraiser series that came out in the late '90s, early 2000s. I have them all at the store. I got them autographed by Doug Bradley because me and him.
There was more than a couple of series about Hellraiser that were done in comics.
One in particular, though, with the one where Bolton did the covers and he did the inside, that tells you a lot about Cenobites throughout thousands of years. If you ever get a chance, pick that up, and I hope this new show is sort of like that. All right, so let's go. All right, so I think we've covered.
We have one more super chat that is on this similar topic before we move on to a new topic.
I thought Prometheus was great. I was shocked to see how many people hated it. Because whenever you start trying to tell a wider story of what people only know a narrow version of, when you start saying we're going to tell you some things about Alien, to most of the general public, Alien is always going to be what they've seen in the first couple of movies and so on. It is to them, they see any expansion on that as territory that should be touched. What I say to them, that territory belongs to Ridley Scott, and if he wants to touch it, then he can do whatever the hell he wants to. And if
he wants to touch it, he can touch all over it. That's his shit.
I have a little bit of a different opinion on it. Now, I do feel that I wanted Prometheus to tell a different story, and I do believe the fans were a little bit responsible for pushing the alien narrative, the xenomorph narrative. Now, if Covenant was the third movie in the franchise of what they're going for, okay. But they skipped over an entire second movie with Prometheus 2. We just didn't get it. The whole freaking point of why, all of the questions we had. But
somebody brought that up in the chat too. They brought that up in the chat how they did it out of order.
Yeah, I was not happy about that. But I do believe there was a little bit of Ridley Scott trying to get rid of some of the James Cameron elements from this franchise a bit. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But Prometheus was good, but it was a little frustrating, the things that weren't explained. But I also believe that if the second movie went the way it should have went, it would have made the first movie better.
Yeah, it was a trilogy.
And actually, that right there is true. What DC says right there, that is why it didn't get a theatrical release.
Okay, hold on. Let me see this. All right, I think Prey didn't get a theatrical release because Fox had a deal with HBO to stream the theatrical movie that didn't expire until 2025. So if it went to theaters, it would have to be HBO Max.
They wouldn't have been able to release it to Hulu. They would have had to release it to HBO Max. That's why they didn't theatrical it. Because there is some freezing between Disney and Warner Brothers about the Fox properties.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll do some research on that. Then the 2018 movie, it wasn't as damaged. It's still a horrible movie. All right.
Oh, no, that was part of the damage. That was part of the damage, but the rest of it is this right here, what he said here.
Can we never talk about that 2018 movie again?
We will try not to.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna get this out the way because, like I said, we're going to bring up the backup topic, but we're not going to talk about it in the same manner that it's been talked about other streams. I think there's a way to approach this that us three on here are not going to stab each other in the eye with pencils. Well, There you go. It
You're
might
trying
be
to
on
rob
camera.
I don't know. Brodan may stab anybody with a pencil.
You don't steal my stuff, all right? And then I want to go
Yeah,
John Wick. But anyway,
All right. So I don't think I have to recap too much. I think everybody watching pretty much knows and understand what went on with this. Here's my take on it, and let me get this off the screen here. Thank you for that super chat. Did I get the super chat already? Yeah, I got it. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Listen, full disclosure, I was against this movie ever being made. The concept of this movie, I feel awful for, and I'm going to give my thing, and I'm going to let you guys individually give yours. I feel awful for the people who put the work into it. I feel awful for the actors, and even whether they got paid or not. This was a lot of work to not see it fruition. But this movie should have never been happening to begin with. And when you have to, it is a lot harder to undo things that should have never happened than anything else. All right. I said from the beginning, as soon as we knew that Warner Brothers and Discovery Channel were going to merge, and that David Zaslav was going to be the CEO, and we can find any stream you want to find in the past 14 months or whatever since that's been announced. You can find me saying that these knuckleheads that are currently running these companies should be told by someone to halt. Everything that you're doing now needs to be put to a halt. Not saying that we're going to scrap everything, but until you have a company that's paying $46 billion and up to $50 billion other dollars in assuming debt, they have the right to come in and not be left with a heaping pile of shit on their doorstep. All right, so none of these projects, the Wonder Twins, which got canceled, none of these projects should be happening. And up to and including the Blue Beetle concept shouldn't happen. Even if these movies were to happen, even if you were going to eventually get a Batgirl and Supergirl and all these other things, they should have happened under the watch of the new management so they could survey everything and find out what fits with what and what they're going to do with their vision. Batgirl, the bigger crime is Batgirl even getting this far into production. It should have never happened. And to say that a company we should be screened anyway, it's, all this and that. No. If it doesn't fit their vision, then they should absolutely scrap it. Now, as far as the personnel being, I'm hearing a lot. I've seen a lot of streams and a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people online. People are never going to work with Warner Brothers again. Bullshit. Okay.
Bullshit.
that is bullshit. And
That
here's
is
why.
insane.
Here's why. And I said this before. Actors, producers, directors, VFX people, anybody, they are not dummies. All right. They are not dummies. They, like us, and probably with a better view of things, have seen what has been going on with Warner Brothers over the last 7 to 9 years. They've talked to people. They know what's going on. They're not going to be happy. Hold on. They're not going to be happy about the situation, but there's an understanding there that where even if there are people that are angry, this is an extraordinary situation that is not an everyday. This is not a David Zaslav daily thing. And this is an extraordinary situation. So,
if I'm to add, Warner Brothers is a bigger company than just DC. They have tons of projects outside of this that are successful. I mean, I don't like Warner Brothers more than the next guy, but we're talking about that's like saying, "Oh, I guess I'm not going to work with Dune." No, you're going to work with Dune because you want to get some award recognition. So shut the hell up.
I also would like to add. Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. Now, this is unfortunate for the people that were involved with these movies. But also, and this happens in Hollywood every day, the only reason this seems like an unprecedented thing is because we don't get to see the inner workings most of the time of these companies. They make pilots every day for a series that never get put out.
Yep.
In fact, one of the Game of Thrones pilots got made and it got canceled. They didn't even put the pilot the pilot got made, but they never went anywhere with it. So it's this being said, this thing with this movie came out is because people are their eyes are on WB right now, and this was bound to come out. But this is not as unprecedented as people think it is. Movies get made all the time that ever see the light of day, and I think a lot of people are making a big deal out of nothing. Where even though I think that I'm not saying I don't have feeling for these people, or I don't have feeling for the. They've already canceled it. It's getting a short 9th season, and that's it. Oh, you're talking about the movie
he's
Flash.
talking about,
Yeah, that's not.
yeah. I'll get to
I
that.
think
I'll
we
get
all
to
can
that.
agree that's not getting canceled.
Yeah,
Money
that's
reasons. Why?
not getting canceled.
That movie's not going to be canceled, no matter
Too
how
much
much people
money,
want it to
man.
be. It's
Too
not
much.
getting canceled. The
But here's the
difference
thing.
in Batgirl, the difference in the money spent on Batgirl and the money spent on
And
the
Snyder, by
Flash,
the way.
and the timing, for one. For two, Batgirl was already being dropped onto a streaming service. There was not going to be a theatrical release for that movie. And as much as people want it to still be dropped, they're going to use it as a tax write-off. And since they are using it as a tax write-off, you cannot make money off of that movie any longer. So you can't even put it on streaming. It goes on the shelf because you made the money back in a tax write-off.
Yeah, you have at least 5 years before you can reclaim
Right.
it, and you still have to pay taxes on it. But when it comes to the Flash, listen, I'm tired of hearing about people thinking that the Flash is going to get canceled or wanting to get canceled because of Ezra Miller. Listen, guys, I love you all in these fandoms, in these chat rooms, and on the streaming on YouTube. You are a brotherhood to me. But the majority of people do not give a rat's ass about the Ezra Miller situation.
No, they don't.
They do not.
They don't.
All right, I get YouTubers. I was on screen with a YouTuber the other day that was he's wanting to make an argument that people care about this. Not enough.
No.
The people get here's I'm going to give you an example. This is my primary example when I tell people about this. COVID killed 2 million people worldwide. We were ready to move on for COVID while it was still killing people. We had a war in Ukraine, and everybody changed their icons to red and not red, yellow and blue, and support Ukraine, salvo Ukraine. Right? We moved on past that. We move on. We're a society who is just ready to move on to the next thing, and these are things that are happening now. You actually think the general public, Joe Q public, is going to give it now? Unless it escalates, like I told him, unless he goes full on Richard Ramirez and bodies start turning up. Now we got a different situation. But unless it escalates to that level, if it just stands where we're at right now, the general public does not care. They're not. Twitter is not the world. YouTube is not the world. Even though I love these formats,
these are small pockets of the country.
Yeah, the general public is not following this thing.
It's like I was saying the other day. All these people that'll tell you, "Oh, that Marvel movie sucked. Marvel is tanking." No. $25 billion says otherwise.
And to make my statement on the Batgirl thing, because I never got to make my statement.
That's because Thade interrupted you.
I know, right? I know. He's so terrible.
You know what, William? You know what? Shut up, both of you.
Eat me. Yes, eat me. Okay. Anyway. This situation is something that is sad, but I'm going to put this as a bigger problem with Warner Brothers. Here's the problem, and this even goes to the Snyder Cut issue. The reason that this happened is because Warner Brothers has been throwing things at a wall for the past 5 years to see if it sticks. There has been no plan. The Snyder Cut, when they released it, Jason Kilnar released that for one reason. I have no idea how the hell I'm going to get the streaming service thing to work, so I'm going to put something that will get people in there. Now, listen, I'm glad it got released. Don't get me wrong. But the reasoning for it is a sign of a bigger issue. That should have never been released if you never had a plan for it. Then you have all these other things you're starting to do. Blue Beetle, Batgirl, this, that, the Wonder Twins. You have no plan. You are trying to throw things against the wall and see if it sticks. There has been no plan for the last few years. Of course this is going to happen. And you should have halted these
The Bluetooth device is connected us.
God damn it, Dade! Even when he doesn't mean to, he screws me over somehow. Evil.
Sorry, that was my Bluetooth speaker. For some reason, came to life.
Eat me. Anyway, listen. The problem is a bigger problem. If the last few years have told us anything, they have not had a plan. They haven't. Let's be honest. This has been unplanned BS. Blue Beetle. You're gonna release a Blue Beetle movie without even introducing the Teen Titans? Okay, good luck with that. You want to do Batgirl, but we don't even have an established Batman. All these things. We don't have an established Superman. We don't have an established Trinity. Listen, everyone wants to bring back the Snyderverse, but I'll be honest with you. If they had a real plan, you know what they should do? They should establish this. To have a thing called Elseworlds. Establish that as an actual thing, and you can bring back things that might get released on the side.
That's
That's all I'm saying. Maybe like Elseworlds, you don't have to make this the main continuity, but everyone wants to see it. It makes a good bunch of money on the side, and then you can start working on your main continuity. But what did you do? You threw something into the wall, thought, hey, let's see if it works. It didn't. It backfired horribly. Then you got this, backfired horribly. And do I think that this movie should be released? On principle, yes. You greenlit it, it should be released. But guess what? This is business. Ain't nobody gonna give a damn about principle. And Zaslav doesn't care. And I can't say good or bad about it. It is what it is. But listen, you guys shouldn't just really be mad at Zaslav. You should be mad at Kilnar, Hamada. The old regime should have never greenlit these movies. That's what I'm more angry about. These movies should have never been greenlit. You never had a plan for them, and you never coincided with the new group coming in. So they have the right to just blow it up. It's their property now. It's like painting the wall in a house right before the new people are going to move in, and you just sold the house. That's literally what this is. So what do you think's going to happen? They're going to be pissed. So this is what happened. Now everyone wants to talk about, this is awful. Release this. And this is another problem I have with DC. This has become the hashtag company. I call it the hashtag company. Release the Ayer cut. Release the Snyder cut. Now it's released Batgirl. Now it's going to be released Blue Beetle. It's going to be released. That's the stigma that they have made with this company, because you have no planning, that we have to ask for things to be released. Not even good projects. You have to ask for things to be released because you freaking botched it. And it's gone all the way back since B versus S. You botched that movie, so then you had to get the ultimate cut. You mean the movie you should have put out there in the first place? Then the Justice League. Then we need a Snyder cut. Are you kidding me? Maybe you shouldn't have botched the one you had in the first place. It's a lack of accountability, and this company deserves what they get. But unfortunately, this is what happens with new business. So this isn't surprising to me.
Going forward, and this is my if somebody were to ask me what I think they should do, first of all, I didn't bring the band list with me. It's on the other computer, but when we get back to the band list, a reboot is going to be added onto the band list. Reboot, it's lazy, unimaginative bullshit thinking. All right. What you said, Brodan, was along the lines of what I think they should do. Even if you are going to go forward with a chosen continuity that fits with the current plan that you want to do, you should always, and like I said before, I think I was on
finish your projects.
Yeah, no one is going to believe what you're about to bring them when you never finish bringing them the other thing. It's like me saying, like I said today on Dave, it's like, hey, wait here. I know I've screwed you for the last 7 to 9 years, but if you wait here, I'm going to come back with something even better. No, nobody, there's a credibility issue. So until as much as people, whatever you feel about the Snyderverse, it is what began, and it needs to be resolved. Not restore the side, but resolve or end the Snyderverse so that it gives you a platform going on. Because otherwise, you're telling people that have been along with you, even the general public who's not even Snyder Bros or anything like that, they know when they haven't gotten something. They know the last time they saw Superman was a long, long time ago. They know that the last time that they saw Ben Affleck Batman was a long, long time ago. Like I said, when we did the promo for the people, when we did the Batman, I had so many people asking me, why does he look so young? Who is this? All right, because not everybody's on Twitter. Not everybody follows it closely. They follow the big brand name, and now they're like, okay, wait a minute. Whatever happened to the Batman movie that was coming after that? Wasn't that story never finished? You don't have to be a nerd to know when something's not finished. When something's not finished, you lose the trust and the faith of people, and there's just too many things. There's video games. There's other places you can go. There's other companies. There's so many things competing for the dollar right now that complete things. Finish what you started, people will believe that you can actually do something next. And that's been the big thing. The biggest problem with the whole Snyderverse thing is that it is an elephant in the room that if they would just resolve it, they would move on.
I really don't need it to be the main continuity. I'm fine.
I don't need it either. I just need it to be completed.
Bits, my God. Put it on.
Okay,
streaming.
Look.
You don't got to put it in
the thing that Zaslav, or that was said the other day on the investor call, was that they're going to focus on their Trinity, which is what they need to do. The focus is going to be Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. But said focus has to wait until there's going to be a waiting period. And that's what a lot of people aren't seeing. I know everybody wants it right now, but there's a waiting period. They've got to see what Black Adam and Shazam 2 and all that's going to make.
That's the problem. That is actually the biggest problem, though. I'm sorry, but they can say that. But you have this other elephant in the room, and he has a bunch of biceps, and he played at the University of Miami. His name's The Rock, and he's expecting, if this movie makes money, you're going to have to throw all your plans out the window and see what this is, because that's a potential franchise. I'm not saying it will be. I am saying, though, The Rock is the biggest
Well, no,
thing you
but,
have.
Hold on,
that's the thing, right? But that's the thing right now, though. They
Before you guys
could
go any
work.
further, I don't think, regardless to how much money Black Adam makes, if he is set on the Trinity, he will still continue. Black Adam making $1 billion or whatever it makes. I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. I think it's going to make really good money. But Black Adam making really good money is going to mean there's going to be more Black Adam. I don't think that it's ever going to be the focal points of the universe because he understands where the Trinity means. Black Adam's going to, if it does great, we'll get a lot more Black Adam and we might get it interconnected. But the focus, from what I'm understanding, unless I'm hearing this wrong, is on the universal characters that every man, woman, child, cat, dog, and parrot can recognize and know who they are.
Well,
but go ahead.
Yeah, they need to focus on that. But my whole thing is, what if they can make a starting point just from the Justice Society and then move up to the Trinity? You don't even know. Again, they can say all they want, but until I see action, I'm not believing anything they freaking say right now. Now, do I think they're going to do a good job? I hope so. It depends on who they hire as well. Because Zaslav's not going to touch this. He's just going to hire someone who will, and that's going to be the key thing. It's who they're going to hire.
And that person ain't starting with the Justice Society, but
I don't think so either. But
I love the Justice
What I
Society,
was about to say is they can continue with the Black Adam thing, and it wouldn't affect what they do with the Trinity.
Yeah, I mean,
they could just fit it. They could fit it together like puzzle pieces. Okay.
Let me answer this real quick. Bat 17. I don't think I've responded to him at all in here. If WBD David said that it doesn't fit our vision going forward instead of quality issues, maybe the backlash wouldn't. Okay, I'm going to answer this. A, he doesn't care about the backlash. And B, I think he truly believes that there were quality issues and he was just being honest. The backlash.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. The problem, he cannot care about the backlash. He cannot care about what's happening with from something that got left over the machine. A different regime. He's a big boy. He's going to have to deal with that backlash, and I think he can do it. The one other backlash that I heard, and that we had the topic, and I was on the stream with someone else last night.
Is Doom Patrol getting canceled? Oh.
No, it's ending.
It's ending. It's not canceled.
Wait, it's going to have a last season?
Yeah. It's going as long as it was supposed to go.
In fairness, I did say this. If it did get canceled, that last season's ending is a perfect ending for me. Yeah, they formed the Doom Patrol. It ended perfectly. I thought, this will be a pretty good series ender. I'm not even going to lie. It went full circle. And I'm like, all right.
One of the contentions of, as I heard, is that we're getting rid of all the people of color. Oh, great. You just canceled a movie with predominant people of color. As a person of color, screw that.
That's part of the reason I had these issues.
The dominant reason why this movie is not going further, it has nothing to do with the ethnicity of the people that are involved into it. Is it unfortunate that it just happens to be people of color that are involved into it?
I guess.
Yeah, but the overarching damage that could be done to your brand is more important than that. And this is coming from someone who wants to see more of us on the screen. That cannot be the reason why you go forward with something that does not fit with what you're doing. So I know that might come up. I know it came up on the other streams I was on.
It did come up. It has been coming up. It's very annoying.
Yeah, I got a problem with that. I understand what you guys are saying because that's the way it looks. But there's people of color in all these movies. I mean, I think The Rock is a person of color. I think there's people of color all over.
A person of color. I don't see the problem here.
All over Black Adam and Shazam. I mean, I understand that this knee-jerk reaction, but that's not a good enough reason to.
They did the same thing with Ezra Miller and when Will Smith got hit with the Oscars ban. It's got to be a comparison. It's just stupid, and that's what people do on Twitter, and it's just a stupid reaction based on trying to find something to feel that is like oppressing you in any way, or you could feel you can make a political point on. And I think that's just childish and stupid. No, these movies got canceled because they never should have been greenlit, and that's on the old regime. And again, it is sad. These are people who've had their time wasted and their money wasted. It's not a joke. But you know what? That's on the old regime for greenlighting this crap. Again, not even the Schneider cut should have been greenlit if they didn't have a plan. All of this should have never been greenlit.
when it comes to the Snyder Cut, we should have never had a Snyder Cut.
You should never have a Snyder Cut.
movie.
You shouldn't have a Beaver's This Ultimate Edition. It goes all the way back.
Yeah. All right, let me answer.
Having alternate cuts. Make a good movie.
Yeah, do it the first time. Rational Skeptic, William, what do you think is going on with Cavill? Is he still negotiating? Is he back with the cameo? All right. I have no inside information on this. This is my gut feeling. I think that that the negotiations are at a point where I think you're going to see him again. I think there are negotiations going on. I think that a lot of stuff gets
if you want to make more money.
Yeah, I think Zaslav understands the importance of Superman, and I don't think he wants to wait the 3 to 4 to 5 years for another Superman to take hold when he has one of the hottest actors there right now to do it.
And to be honest with you, this impacts the Black Adam movie. If you do not make it very clear in the next like month or so whether we're going to have a Superman appearing in a movie, we're going to have some problems because that's going to impact a lot of people.
But there's another way, and I agree with you, but there's another way we could play this.
There is.
They put it in there. They put him in there, and then as soon as a big mouth like me running out of the theater with my damn phone banged about, guess who's in the movie? Guess who's in the movie? And then that's gonna get out, and the clip scenes. Because remember when Spider-Man the second Venom movie, where the cameo where they destroyed that movie just to get that Spider-Man cameo in there. Everybody and their mother knew about that, and that's what that hyped that movie and pushed that movie over to where it needed to be. So they could do it your way, or they could do it the other way. They just need to do it.
I mean, hey man, you want to go with the No Way Home leak way? Because those they got leaked on purpose. We all know that.
Oh hell yeah, Sony's green.
They got leaked on purpose. But you could do the leak way, or you could do it I would do it the leak way because I think it's a keep it professional, hush hush type of thing. I don't think you want to just go out and say we're gonna put Superman in the movie. No. You want to leave it for some of the general population who doesn't follow the internet to be surprised. But for all of us people who are going to be pissed off whether it happens or not, you want to leak it. So they have to give us a notification somehow. But yeah, that's going to be a big problem. I think they'll get it resolved, hopefully, and pay him the money that he wants. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you, Warner Bros. You're going to have to pay him all the money he wants. He has you by the balls on this one. He demands the market right now. The dude's the hottest actor in geek Hollywood right now. You're going to have to pay him the money. So pay him the damn money, be done with it, get Superman out there and get it going. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if there's one thing that anyone will be looking forward to down the road, it's not Batman versus Superman. It's The Rock versus Superman. Let's just keep it honest.
Two MILF magnets crashing in the middle of a movie screen.
Exactly. And you know what the best part is? They're both buddies, so it even makes it better.
Same agent.
Same agent.
Buddies, everything. And let's be honest, if you want to keep that up, you want to keep that guy happy that's playing Black Adam, you want this to be a thing, do it. It's money. You got to keep it that way. But
all right, Jay Sinise. Okay, so he's talking to Stella, but I've been following this conversation. Get ready for round 2 with these guys. Doesn't matter who the CEO is of WB, DC, or whatever. 10-year plan, of chaos and aimlessly throwing things. All right, so that will be easy to say because of what we've been through with Warner Brothers. But to say that you are dismissing David Zaslav's history in the industry. And if you do some research on his history in the industry and how he built Warner Brothers Discovery into a company that could purchase a major studio, I don't think you will say that as loudly once you understand how David Zaslav and Warner Brothers Discovery got to
and here's another thing that is also big that no one's talking about. DC has its own studio now. That is a big deal. That has been something that we've been asking for 10 years. We'd be in a lot better spot if they had a studio because that means they'd have people who have a plan to know what they're doing. The problem is you mix DC into some other studio, there's a mess and there's just a bunch of people collaborating in nonsense. DC now has its own exclusive studio. That is a big deal. That's not something to sneeze at. Okay. No offense, I didn't mean to say it like that, but still.
Rational Skeptic, they better not fucking do this. They better not do this.
Dude, I swear to God, I'm done.
Dude, you want to see people you want to see the internet explode.
Fire.
You want to see misery streams, misery marathons, and people just the thumbnails for those streams are going to be.
You want to see Enosh come into a stream and start dropping F-bombs and stuff? You're going to see it for 30 straight minutes.
Enosh will have a abandon all hope stream.
He's going to start blasting holes in the wall.
There will be they cannot do this.
I'd rather have him in it all at this point.
Yeah, don't do that. If they do another cameo right now, it's not as important to riot in the streets, but we will be YouTube and that would be a whole start. Oh, no, just don't even look at it. The thing that I'm like, dude, I can't even fit you anymore. I
You hearing that, Dave?
new team up. So, what's up?
I think you went robotic as hell.
Oh, me or him?
No, you.
Yeah, you roboted out bad,
You
dude.
went to Megatron on acid.
Oh, wow. Okay. But yeah, they can't do that. They can't do that. That's the one thing that they must not do.
I'm still triggered from Shazam, so yeah, they better get that right. And let's see where they started this. They started this crap. You had to put that crap in Shazam. So I'm expecting to see Man of Steel and Black Adam. This is where we're all. This is what this needs to be the point. Because it's not just Black Adam versus Superman. No. It's Black Adam versus Superman and Shazam. We all need that to be the point because this is all going to connect together in that whole thing. So let's get this together. I'm sick of this crap.
Oh yeah. That would be nuts. That would be that side that Rorschach's carrying to watch.
Rorschach shine.
The end is not. Yeah, that would be it. So yeah, let's not do that. Let's not even entertain that. That would be fun if they did it as a joke and they started out as a cameo and all you saw, and then they raised up and then you saw them. But if you leave people in there, I don't even want to be in that theater. I don't want to be in that theater. Even
Bro,
if it's
you just
promo
on my face. I just see, and they could have a great movie, and it'd still piss everyone off, just like pissing in their mouth. It'd be horrible.
I'm getting the hell out of that theater because there's going to be some pissed off, moaning, groaning people. We don't need to survey that. We don't need to know your opinion on this movie. We know what you think. The collective groaning, the lifelessness that'll be in that theater. But I don't think they're going to do
Twitter
that.
would be like on fire for a few days.
Oh my God.
Awful.
Twitter.
It would be burning. Everyone, you know what it'd be like? It'd be
The
like
YouTube videos
alone.
the YouTube videos alone would be horrible.
Oh, well, my videos would be horrible. You think, well, I'm going to say, you know what? This is right. You're here. This is why I'm going full Marvel. Y'all can kiss my ass. I'm taking all the DC stuff off my wall and selling it and be done with it.
I would have to
take it.
I'd have to take a vacation from YouTube if that goes.
I just like if anyone puts on DC, I'm going to shoot it.
Oh my goodness.
The cap in the screen. I'm not hearing it, dude.
Look, I just go back and watch the old shit after that, man.
I'm like, listen, man, I got B versus S, the Man of Steel right in the wall, right on the top. Okay, listen, I've been suffering for the last few years. I at some point, can you stop? Just don't let us suffer no more. Okay?
Yeah, just give us something. Like I said, right now I think we're in a good place with this whole DC thing, DC film thing, because from what I'm hearing from him, the way I interpret it, that there are priorities that are being made that were not being made the past 7 to 9 years. So I think we're in a really, really good place when it comes to the future. There's going to be some mistakes made. There's going to be some hiccups made. There's going to be some things that, we may not all be 100% on with.
Well, look,
it takes time, but nothing's perfect.
No birth goes through without labor pains. Okay? No birth goes through without pain of birth. This is not going to be an easy... Everybody who wants this fixed yesterday, they're deluding themselves.
We didn't get here. We didn't get here yesterday. We got here in 9 long, very painful years with some enjoyment sprinkled out through there. But for the
it's
most
been longer
part,
for me, guys. But it's been awful. It's been really awful. And you know what? I've only asked for one thing. I just want my season 6 of Teen Titans. That's all I want. I don't even need.
I'm telling you, dude, we need to start a campaign.
Yeah, well, you know what? I would, but it might get weird, and then I might be, going on the internet talking about signs and things.
And the thing is, Rational Skeptic, let me just answer this really quick. Rational Skeptic, that's the reason for test screenings. It's so they know what people are going to hate, and if it was a faceless Superman at those test screenings, yeah, they're definitely going to hear about it.
Oh, my God.
Another thing about the test screenings is they're unfinished, unedited films. A lot of times test screenings will happen while there's still negotiation with actors and actresses. And the test screening is to give people a blocking of what's going on and what certain things that they're response to. They're not gauging your response to certain things or the other. But they will be working on, this movie gets released October 21st.
And for the record, I'd like to just say this. The test screenings, George Lucas had Luke Skywalker become Darth Vader. Things can change. That's the point.
Things always change.
So they'll know.
Things always
I don't know why they need a test screening to know that this is a dumbass idea. I thought it was pretty apparent after the last time you did this. It wasn't smart. Or the last time you did it before then.
I think it could be a placeholder. It's like, I've been to test screening, and there's a lot of stuff in there that is placeholders. there's a lot of blank things. There's sometimes you'll be watching a test grading and it'll say so and so inserted here, visual effects inserted here, actor,
or you'll have some crappy CG thing on the screen, or you'll have storyboards. I mean, you don't test screenings aren't the full movie, obviously.
Let's see. I love DC properties, but it feels like you have to hold the studio by the hand. The previous regime, yes. I have to wait and see for the new regime.
We haven't hired anyone yet, so no one. Yeah. There's been no hiring. They haven't hired anyone.
Nah, we're here to have fun. We're having some fun. So I've covered the. I think we covered the quarterly report and the Batgirl thing at the same time. So this is going to be the time where I'm going to go ahead and put a link in the chat here, and I'm going to invite some of you guys to come on here with me, and I'm going to do. Here's going to be the rules. It's going to be one at a time. It's going to be limited, about 5 minutes. No spoilers. Try not to curse. This is not my stream. This is my show, but this is not my network. So take care to have some respect for the guy.
On my network, you're allowed to curse, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah, but so don't bring up other YouTubers. No. That's not where you're right. So you're going to get 5 minutes, and I'll try to bring as many people as possible. So here's the link. And so I'll let that go ahead and post in there. I don't have YouTube studio access, so I can't put it to the top. So, but it should sit in there for long enough for us. So when somebody pops up, and until then, like I said, I think we're in a good place. I like what I heard. I like going forward where we could potentially be. Well, once again, once the execution phase is going to be what makes it happen. He could say a lot of stuff, but
William, I wanted to speak real quick here in a minute to the HBO Max rumors, because that was another thing that was brought up during the investor call. HBO Max, to everybody who's saying HBO Max is being destroyed or going away, it's not. It's being rolled. Well, yeah, but more than enough people on Twitter and YouTube have lost their damn minds about it. So I figure I'll go over it really quick. They're going to combine it with Discovery Plus, and they're also planning on rolling it out to more countries worldwide by the end of next year. So all of the countries now that don't get HBO Max, that have to get it on Crave or whatever, you're going to be able to get a bundle with HBO Max. But they're also going to give three different ways to do it. You're going to have an ad-free, you're going to have a light ad, and then you're going to have a free with ads version to Discovery Plus and HBO Max. So,
I wonder what the price point is going to be, but
Peacemaker is going to continue. Jonathan Martin, that was confirmed by James Gunn. They're not going to get rid of that, so you will get season 2 of Peacemaker, and I'm pretty sure you're going to get a Suicide Squad 2 down the line when they get everything figured out. Those make money. They're not going to mess with that. That makes good attention. And
they'll make more money if they put them in the order that they should have been released, instead of releasing the Suicide Squad in the middle of nothing with nothing to propel it.
Right. And also,
to everybody who thinks that HBO that they're going to get rid of scripted material, you're deluding yourself. They don't pump they didn't just pump millions of dollars into House of Dragons to not continue with scripted material.
And also, people were worried about the Batman. I'm like, that makes money. Listen, if you want to know anything about David Zaslav, the guy cares about one thing in this world: it's making money. And if that's the case, I'm good. I don't care. If you care about making money, then that means you care about making things to give you money. If that's the point, great.
Yes, Film Watcher, you're going to get a merged version of HBO Max and Discovery Plus by the end of next year. They're in Canada and also in about 170 countries worldwide.
Yeah. Bell Rev, I do. I feel for them.
I feel horrible for everybody involved. The director himself, one of the directors himself, had to hear about it at his wedding.
It's awful.
It was a horrible thing to happen, but unfortunately, it had to be done.
My whole thing is if DC was smart, we'd make an Elseworlds tab, and you start running that, so we could start having projects that were not finished be put in. You can put your director's cuts, you can put the movies that were not done, and then everyone can get what they want on the Elseworlds. And who knows, if it gets popular enough from an Elseworlds, it can be used in some sort of capacity. But I know that's a huge project. If ever.
Oh well, here's the thing though, and I could agree with that in concept, but in execution phase, okay, so all right, so I'm making a sci-fi center movie, or I'm selling something, and my brand is really important for me, right? And I got these other people out here that have created something that if I think it's going to be released, it's going to distract from my brand, even if it's distinct, if it's different, and I can distinguish that this is Sci-Fi Center Light or something like that. I'm still worried about all angles of my brand, and if something doesn't meet the level of I don't want it out there at all. It's different with the Snyder Cut because it wasn't a quality issue; it was a change in philosophy issue. From what they're saying, from what we're hearing, this is a quality issue to the point where it didn't meet the standards of where they want to be going forward. So they're better off never releasing it. If they put it anywhere, and they weren't going to spend the money to upgrade it because they didn't think there was any return on it. So I think it's better if it's just left unseen. Now with Snyder content or any other content, let's say any other DC content you want, whether it be patents, and the quality is there, and these storylines get resolved. I think the biggest thing that they need to do for Elseworlds is create a place for an Elseworlds to resolve things without necessarily weighing down your prime continuity. Finish the Snyderverse, but it doesn't have to be part of your prime continuity. Just like Kingdom Come, and I tried to explain this last night on Point of Shalom, and I basically got assailed. But if you can have your prime timeline, but with Kingdom Come was a storyline that was only supposed to last 4 issues. It was an Elseworlds, and that was all it was supposed to be. But because it was so popular, other writers over the last 25 years have referenced it. It does not have anything to do with the main timeline, but it was a reference point. That's how we got the type of Superman that Brandon Routh played. That's how we got, some of the characters that were in Kingdom Come bled over into the main timeline when it was appropriate for them to do so, especially in storylines like Infinite Crisis. Once you finish something, you gain a lot more credibility than when you just reboot and start things without resolving things. Anybody can hit the reset button. But if you weren't capable of fixing something and making it a cohesive process at the beginning, why would I trust you with the next thing? All right, it's like you're trying to build a sandcastle and you just can't get it right. Wiping out the sandcastle doesn't necessarily mean you're going to make a good one. All right, so I'm going to add our first guest to the stream. Call me SK. How you doing?
Hey, how's it, guys? How you guys doing?
What's up, buddy?
All right, man.
Wait, let me take down my volume. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I can hear you echoing there.
There we go.
All right, now I can hear you. Go ahead, man. What's your question?
From South Africa. What the hell is DC doing? That's what my question is. What the hell?
Well,
we never really know.
That's a two-pronged question. What they've been doing since 2013, which is awful for the most part. What they're doing now after they've been bought out, I think that right now what they're trying to do is trying to undo what the last 9 years have been. And I think it is a disruptive thing to do. It's a lot of change that a lot of people are looking at. And there's a lot of fear in the room because whenever you bring this kind of change, it's uncertainty. It's uncertainty. So to answer your question, what they're doing now, I think is the right thing. It's just gonna look awkward right now because of what they inherited. And you guys want to go ahead and answer that question too? So?
Okay, so WB before the merger with Discovery was a sinking ship, and companies don't get bought out in mergers when they're doing well. Okay, there was a whole lot going on. There was a whole lot of debt. There was a whole lot of unrealized future, basically, to DC. A lot of people can tell that it was all over the place. And in comes Discovery. And say what you want about David Zaslav, and a lot of people have talked ad nauseum about how horrible he is or whatever. how he's run this company or that company into the ground. But right now, he's the only guy that's come in with him and his advisors like Alan Horn and stuff. These are the only people that have come in and had some concrete idea of what they want to do. The previous regime was just throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck. And that is not the way to run a entertainment company in the slightest. So what you're going to see now, there's going to be a lot of shakeup. There's going to be a lot of uncertainty. But I'd say within the next year, maybe 2 years, we'll have a more solid idea of where it's going.
Yeah. Hey, SK, what time is it in South Africa?
He said he's gonna go fix his speakers. By the way.
Oh, okay.
Well, to answer that question, if he watches it back, but we can go by time. We can go by like 3 chapters of it. It's a 3-chapter story. First of all, this started with the basically right after The Dark Knight, and then Man of Steel got released. This has been a miscommunication from the start. The problem with DC was they never had a plan. They thought, okay, we can get this guy. Let Zack Snyder make us blockbusters. The problem with Zack Snyder is he doesn't make blockbusters. I'm sorry, he just doesn't. And that's not his fault. He's a different type of director. He's not going to sit there and make a bunch of things.
Well, I don't know. He 300, great movie.
300 is a great movie. I don't know if he's ever made like a
Dawn of the Dead, great movie. They both made good money.
Well, did it make billions? Because that's what they were looking for. And the problem is they were looking for billions, and Zack Snyder is looking to make a story. Now,
the thing about making, like, we've said this often enough, even on your show, Brodan, making billions, a movie doesn't have to make billions to be good.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't, but that's what they're looking for. My point is miscommunication. They had a clear miscommunication from the start. So Man of Steel happens. It doesn't make the money they wanted to, even though I think Man of Steel did a fine damn job of actually reinvigorating the character and putting a better story out there for me. But then we move on to where the problems go. They start trying to overly compete with Marvel, and then they start cutting movies. And you see what happens with B versus S, confusing until you actually watch the real cut that has more stuff added to it. And then you had just debacle after debacle. Basically, they handicapped Zack Snyder, and we saw how that worked. So that's like kind of the first chapter of this. Just bad management all around from every angle. That's one problem. So then that happens. Then we move on to they were going to revamp their whole thing. Because let's be honest, they had a whole revamp plan, a little bit of a revamp plan. They revamped. It started really with Aquaman. You had Shazam. You thought DC was turning a bit of a corner and was going, okay, this is decent. We'll see where they go with this. And then COVID hit. All their movies get put on hold. So they bring back the Snyder cut to see if they can get some much needed money and for the streaming service, and then this whole thing just collides. Unfortunately, they messed up because they didn't handle this right. Now, listen, I'm not saying that the Snyder fans are like a lot of these Snyder fans are justified what they've done. Now, all of them? No, it's not all of them. It's not even close to all of them. But it's enough to make it look like a bad influence. But it was all started because of an idiot.
You got to fix SK?
Yes, I got to fix some back, guys.
Okay.
Hey, real quick, they answered your question when you can watch it on the rollback. But listen, I'm new to this whole YouTube thing, and this is the furthest besides some of the Australians that we've had that I've got a viewer going in. So I've been to a lot of continent. I've actually been to the continent of Africa, but it was far north. I've been to Egypt.
Okay,
dude, what's it like? How old are you? What's it like in South Africa? I've always. Sorry for all the questions, but I'm
you guys are hilarious. Like, as in the African side of America. Can you guys hear me clearly, though?
I can hear you.
We can hear you.
There's no feedback.
No, you're good.
Okay, awesome, man. No. I'm 32, turning 33 soon.
Okay, cool, man. I mean, this is cool. Like I said, to be international like this is cool. I'm still getting started with all this. So,
so it's a Sunday for me.
Okay.
It's a Sunday. It's Sunday morning. It's like 8 o'clock in South Africa. I mean, like the hot side of South Africa. There's the coast side and there's the heat side. I mean, the heat side, as in like the what do they call it? I'm up. What is it called? I'm up on top of the mountain, basically.
Oh,
not low.
I'm in Vegas. I'm in Vegas. I understand.
Yeah, something like that. So it's dope. It's also a military type situation land, but I mean South Africa, it's effing dope. I'm in the city, and yeah, man, it's just a warm morning.
How do you watch these shows down there? Is there HBO Max in South Africa?
We do not have HBO Max, and this decision for them to like merge it to Discovery, is amazing because I do have Discovery.
Okay,
You see.
so you're good. You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it now. So it's a good thing for you.
Yeah,
I've always wondered how other
SK,
people in other countries watch it.
SK,
Yes.
they're talking about having that merged for you by like middle of next year. So you
It's
should
really
be.
sad. That's horrible. That's horrible. Like it should have been done earlier. It should have been done earlier.
They never had
Hamada
a
needs
real
to
plan.
go. Hamada needs to go.
Well, this company never had a real plan. Like I said, I never actually had to finish my point. But DC has not been run correctly from the start. I think it's been longer, but they tried to. Again, the clear miscommunication. They thought they could compete with Marvel. They couldn't because you have a different set of things to do than Marvel. I mean, it's the same thing if you think about it, but it's still different with the storylines. They didn't really pick the right one. Fans also weren't given time to get used to some of this stuff because it was a different take. Let's be honest, it was. They weren't expecting this, but you never gave them time to like get used to it. You tried to rush this. If you gave it time, more fans would have gotten used to this, and this would have been more maybe liked. But they never gave it time. They never did the right thing, and of course, this went into a mess.
But why are we getting pushback from so many fans as well? Like, why are fans like? And it's not just fans. It's also like, let's say the reviewers. They wanted this, and now they are pushing back. They're like, no, Batgirl wasn't supposed to be canceled, but we all wanted this, guys. We all wanted this.
Because it's a way to say that they're morally better. Saying, see, these companies have no morals. It's just a grandstanding at this point. It is a grandstand thing.
But for who?
Grandstand.
For who? Is it for
It's
Marvel?
a grandstand for viewers.
No?
It gets more viewers. It gets more viewers that way.
That does it get more viewers?
It does, actually, surprisingly enough.
Which is why I'm at the bottom of the toilet pole when it comes to news because and plus I try not to take a controversial stand on it. A lot of these guys, and there are some legitimate when it comes to SK, there are some legitimate people who do have some fears about what's coming next, mainly because they've been led. It's hard to trust things now because of what we've gone through. The Hamadas, the Tishiharas, the Emmerichs, the Ansarnovs. We've been fed so much bad leadership when it comes to DC content. It's really hard to get people on board for this because they feel like they've heard it before. And now you're starting out immediately with disruption and shit because this guy's coming in with shock and awe because he understands he's had 9 months to sit and see what he wants to do with his company the moment he legally could. So now he's doing it. So a lot of people never thought we would get to this point where we had a guy like this to do it. And so it's a little bit of a shock to the system. But the cure for that is for him to stay the course, to follow what he wants to do, his plan. And I think a lot of these fears will be taken away when he begins to execute and you actually see the movies.
Right from the first hires where you're going to see where this direction goes. And I think I kind of have an idea. He said what he wanted to do. He wanted to make it like MCU with the plan, at least, the makeup.
Yeah.
So have a plan. Make sure you have the Trinity established and move on from there. Because I hate to admit it, but Marvel actually has had their Trinity established. They had their whole core group established, and they did it well. Obviously, the problem with DC is you can never establish anything. You never gave this time. It's about giving.
Funny thing is, we have Disney Plus here. I've subscribed to Disney Plus. I don't know if you guys are still using cable. We have that in South Africa. we got it
here. I got it here in Vegas.
We've got it here. We've got it here, but a lot of people are going away from it now.
Exactly. So we have cable. So what our cable services that is, they've integrated all these streaming service into that. So
they've done that though. I've seen that here.
Yeah. So you subscribe for cable, and then so you subscribe to all these streaming services. So HBO Max is not there. Only thing we have is Netflix and Disney Plus, which is crazy. I'm not a big fan of Disney Plus, but we have Disney Plus and YouTube. What's crazy? Also, YouTube, you can subscribe to it through our cable network. Those are the only 3 we have so far. So Disney Plus just got added 2 months ago. That's what's crazy. I know, it's insane. 2 months ago.
See, a lot of the streaming services are rolling out over the next year and a half. A lot of the different streaming services are rolling out worldwide stuff because they know that they need to meet those markets.
Yeah, no, we do pay for these things, man. Man, especially when it comes to like comic books. There's a market here, guys. There's like all of my friends down the road. No one has access to like even BVS. No one has seen the Batman v Superman,
Wow.
the restored edition,
Okay.
and the extended edition. If you ask anybody about Ultimate Edition, they'll be, what the hell are you talking about?
Wow, that is so
Because our streaming, because our like when things get canceled in America, just know it will never see the light of day in South Africa. You have to find the most illegal ways to watch the stuff, which is crazy. It's insane. They make
Lot
us
of
live,
pirate radio down there, yeah.
man, they make us live like the barbarians who are killing each other for content here. Just walking out with spears for content.
Wow.
Yeah, you're out there beating
I
the
know.
bushes for content.
Man, it's crazy. I know William. I don't know if it was William last time. He said, no, you guys can start like a media hub or whatever. I know the last time I was on the stream, they were telling me about that, but that was like 6 months ago. And
What was that? Refresh my.
we're talking with Enosh. We're talking about Cape Town. Yeah, I think you were on, and then a guy from Australia was on. I just forgot all their names,
Yeah,
man. But it was a
probably
big
Anthony.
stream, and then you asked me
Probably
to
Anthony,
create
yeah.
something. Yeah, that's Anthony, I think. So they asked me that, and I was like, we don't even have a media hub per se. We take your content and basically like redo it South Africans. So it's quite annoying. So I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man, it's quite horrible. So even our TV, I don't even watch South African TV. So and I work in the media. That's what's crazy. I work in radio, so it's quite insane. It is very insane. Yeah, very insane.
To answer Black Star Fox, Kevin did go for long term, but Zach had a 5 movie type plan that never saw its fruition. Again, miscommunication, like I said. But Zach had a 5 movie plan. They never let him finish it, and we never got to see it. But that's the thing, though. It didn't make bad money. They really wanted to make Marvel money, but they never were making bad money. That's what pissed me off. If these movies really tanked, I would have understood canceling all this shit. But you handicapped these movies to begin with, and they never really tanked. When you tried to meddle with them is when they lost money. Yeah. And that's what's sad.
Yeah.
They made less on Justice League than Man of Steel. Now you tell me that's awful. Wonder Woman did great wonders. So I don't know what they were thinking. You did well, Wonder Woman. So the next thing is to just destroy Justice League. No, you trust your guy and you keep doing this. But the problem is there's an out of touch. There's people that are out of touch here. They're not they aren't like fanboys like producing this stuff. It's just a bunch of idiots that only care about the bottom dollar but don't even know how to make the bottom dollar. And that's what happened here. You didn't give them a chance. Listen, would this have made Marvel money? Probably not. But it would have made money. And then maybe you could have made a spinoff into an actual universe with a plan. But you hired this guy on to do something that you never told him to really do. So he was going under the complete pretense of, I'm going to do my plan. That's it. You guys wanted him to do, let's make a whole goddamn Star Wars level masterpiece. And that just wasn't going to happen. So that's the miscommunication. And Zack Snyder got screwed over because of that, and that's complete BS. But
Zack works better with his own content than he does within an IP.
Yeah,
that's my.
And opinion. I think we're gonna see that with Rebel Moon.
Definitely.
I don't know, man. Watchmen is one of the great comic book movies of all time.
I don't know. BVS is right up there.
It's up there. Listen, I'm going to be full disclosure. I know a lot of people are going to support Rebel Moon and all this, and I'm going to watch it because I like Zack Snyder's filmmaking. I like the way he tells his stories. But I am partial. I came to the party for the comic book content.
I get it. Man, I had to connect all 3 movies together. I have a 9-hour, 5
You realize
just right in front of me. So, yeah.
You realize that the 300 is comic book content.
That's what I said. 300 is Frank Miller. Yeah, I read it when it first came out. And it's scene by scene, by the way.
For the record, a lot of his stuff is based on Frank Miller. I mean, B vs. S had Frank Miller in it. So it's not shocking to me. The problem was you didn't give fans enough time to get used to it. Some fans need some time to get used to certain things with a look. You would have established more of a fan base because of it.
Well, but also in the same gist, though, Brodan, fans need to be fucking patient. Oh shit, sorry.
That's what I
Fans
get.
need to, fans
I
need to
get
be
that.
patient.
Quick. The
Fans need
previous
to be
regime,
patient, man.
do they
Well,
have
even
to make
so.
money? Like with the what is that? With Black Adam coming out, with the Flash, are their names tied financially to those projects? Like,
Well,
is
here I'm going to answer that real quick. A lot of the whatever happens with these movies is kind of like a mulligan, because when they assume the debt, they assume the production costs of these movies are being written off, and they've already purchased that debt to begin with. Now they're just trying to make their money back. With Black Adam, all the money that Black Adam is going to be made is going to be made because The Rock's in it. I think Black Adam is a $650 to $750 million million, and that's good money for
That's really good money.
IP
but
that nobody
is it
knows.
anyways tied to the previous regime? Like, is a Walter Amada gonna get a piece of that cake? That's my question.
As an executive producer, he will get.
Yeah, he will.
He gets a credit.
It
Yeah,
doesn't really matter, but
he's on his way out. So he's
It's
as
gone.
his
It doesn't
partner.
really
Is
matter.
he on his way out, guys?
Yes.
You know, what if
Yes.
what if this makes
They're
$2
done.
billion and then he's got a thing, you know, just like what they
If
did
that
with
makes $2
Joker,
billion,
an
then
excuse.
Yeah,
that makes $2 billion. Then there's something. Then The Rock just prayed to Satan or something. 'Cause I don't see that
Look,
happening.
We
But
know
even
that,
so,
but Satan
Okay,
is a
let's-
mother, so there's the thing.
I'll answer
We're
this for you
looking
real
at-
quick.
We're looking at 600 million, 700 million, and probably tops.
Even if the movie made $1 billion, it doesn't matter as far as Hamada goes, because a new person wants their people no matter what. No matter if you take away how people feel about Hamada one way or another, it doesn't really matter. It's if it's like a coach comes in, he gets his own coordinators, he gets his own quarterbacks coach, he gets his own defensive coordinator.
I actually got a better analogy when it comes to sports.
So-
It's like if a new not a new owner, no, a new president of a football team comes in. He is going to get rid of
We
every.
don't have football, by the way. We have soccer, but anyways, you can keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well.
yeah. When you say
Football, yes.
football,
A new president comes in, right?
I'm just playing. Yeah.
If they have a new president comes in, he gets his own guys. I'm talking everyone's gone, from the general manager to the coaches to the coordinators. Everyone's gone. This is what's going on here. A new president came in. He got rid of everyone, down to everything, and he's going to put his own people in and handle this mess.
Yeah,
and they're going to clean house. That's what's going on. I told people this from like months ago, and
a year ago, I was saying this.
And for the record, can I just say something? It wasn't even us saying it. Zaslav came in and said this months prior to this. He said it. And now everyone is shocked that he's doing what he said he was going to do. What do you want? What do you want? I can't say anything about that.
Exactly. That's why I was asking.
Well, there's
why
also
pushback. We're getting pushback from reviewers, which is crazy. Like, reviewers should be, and I'm talking about like Snyderverse reviewers. People actually love Zack Snyder stuff, and now pushing back. Like, I didn't want to put in names because I was watching the stream like yesterday, and Ray, I would say Ray was also from the Flightcast. I'll say Ray's on our side. I'm sorry, but he's on our side, and then he just seems so touched because of the cast.
I was on that stream. I was on that stream. All right,
yes.
and I understand where Ray's coming from here, and I can sort of relate. The reason why, and there's an equivalency being built with the people who made the Batgirl's work not being seen, and the same thing being Zack Snyder's work not being seen, and that it should be the fans that decide whether something's good or not. And good. My response to that, and like I said, he has a valid point, but my opinion about that was, before a fan plops down whatever the money that they're going to, 10, 20, 30, 40, $100 to do whatever they're going to do with the movie, and they buy their popcorn, before that fan even knows that a movie is even in existence, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars have been borrowed and leveraged. Hundreds of careers have been put on the line. Hundreds of pieces have been put into place. And the liability is there for that person before us fans even play a part. We are an important part of the game. But before, there is no game for us without those people taking these risks. So for somebody to say, well, the fans should decide whether they could sit or not, or the corporation should decide, they very well should, because it's their money. If this is Zaslav's legacy, so I understand where Ray's coming from.
Are the directors fighting for the movie? It seems like they're not. So as fans, why are we pushing for them to fight for the movie when they're not? These guys are fighting.
Pretty plainly, it's just a new trend that's going. I mean, it's been going this way for DC fans ever since the Snyder Cut issue, because they're fighting for people not getting their movies. Now this is the hashtag company. It's a trend.
Another thing that the problem here is, and this is from us as fans. A lot of people, when Zaslav started the takeover, they wanted heads to roll, and now that heads are rolling, people are going, "Hey, slow down."
Well,
I think
it's a trend.
Hold on. I don't know if it's the heads rolling, because the heads that are rolling are great heads to roll.
Yes.
But it's this Batgirl thing. It's they see the Snyder movement reflected in what happened to Batgirl, and it's not the same thing. The Snyder cut was derailed from a difference of philosophy. The quality was there and the money was there.
And they weren't losing money on it.
And people didn't lose their jobs. Did people lose their jobs from Batgirl? I don't think so. I feel like they just stopped the work. Yeah, they didn't get fired. I mean, in Zack Snyder's Justice League, people lost their jobs. Like as in scenes were cut from the movie and people not credited, and meaning you're probably not paid. So in Batgirl, people got paid. It just got shelved. So I'm assuming
there's a political.
And I would like to answer. Fall of the 11th. Fans don't make movies, and that might be a rough thing for people to swallow. It's Fall of the 11th. It's the second one up from the bottom. Third one up from the bottom now.
I got him.
And I gotta say this.
Fans don't make movies. Okay. And I know that's a tough thing to swallow, because I'm saying this and I am a fan. Fans don't make movies. It starts, like William was saying earlier, it starts with the people, the creatives, and all of that. Now, what you
Go
ahead, man. Go ahead, finish your point.
Yeah.
What you have to do is give those people time. Now, I know that's asking for a lot from WB, but right now you have to realize that Zaslav and that whole group, they're new. It's going to take a little time for you to get what you want, but if you wait, you might get something you need as a fan.
that's
And to further this, just to get my points in, listen, here's the thing. Fans are fans for a reason. People who get paid millions of dollars to do this are there for a reason. Some of the things, and I have to keep explaining this, and it's annoying to do it, but some of the greatest things in the history of like cinema are things we never asked for. Star Wars, we never really asked for. I don't remember people barging down the doors for Dune, even though Dune is damn near historic material. These are things people don't ask for. They get anyway, and you fall in love with it. The point of these people is to make you actually like the material, not to give you what you've already gotten. It's just, come on.
so Dune 2.
Should they pay you some
Dune
fan
2
service along the way? Yes, but you have to
Dune
understand.
2 have Hamada? Will Dune 2 have Hamada's name on it? Those are the questions I have. you know?
Yes.
Yeah, he will.
As an executive producer, he will.
Unfortunately, yes.
I don't
He's
see
not
the
going
problem with
anywhere,
it.
guys.
I
He's
don't
not
see the
going
problem.
anywhere.
He's gone, but it is what it is.
Yeah, he gets and then that's fine. He's
It's
like
fine.
I said.
I don't care.
All right, follow 11th. The problem I have with the people running these, that Zaslav's not actually listening to the fans want. They are placing. I'm going to answer both of your sections back to back. Follow 11. They are placing their own plans, thinking it's going to work, and then it crumbles. Here's the thing. I can't apply, and I need to go uninterrupted in this one because it's going to be long-winded. Sorry in advance. I can't apply that logic to this current regime. I could apply that logic to the previous regime who did enact plans and then didn't respond to them not working. So I can't apply that to the new regime. Now on to your second part, because you could very well be true, but we don't know that because this just came out. Now, your second point. Also, they released Birds of Prey, but they won't release Batgirl, and they have the audacity to say we want to work with directors and actors game. All right, first of all, this is my opinion. Birds of Prey should have never been released. The Suicide should have never been released. So I agree. None of these movies should have ever been released. Zaslav wasn't in charge then, or those movies, there's a good possibility that those movies would have never even been conceptually conceived, or they would have been done in a very, very different way. The movies you bought up should have never been released. So when you say also released Birds of Prey, Batgirl, and Audacity. Now, as far as you working with directors again, like I said, if this was the third or fourth time that David Zaslav had pulled the plug on certain things, I would agree 100% with you. I would never work with him again. But once again, these guys that we're talking about, these directors, you think Christopher Nolan's not going to be a voice in the room when somebody defends this current Warner Brothers regime against the previous regime? The actors and directors and people in the trade have been dealing with this mess that has been dubbed Warner Brothers for so long now that there's nobody, I don't think there's anybody involved that doesn't understand that something like this was going to happen. Now, should they be happy about it? No, the people who had their movie taken away should be very, very upset. But they need to aim that anger at the people who are responsible for it. You did these people who worked on this movie no justice by greenlighting their movie and by not giving it everything it needed to succeed. All right. If there was going to be a Batgirl, it should have been on a long-term plan where that Batgirl movie could thrive and could do well, and you should have had a better strategy of releasing it. I can't blame David Zaslav for that. I understand there's people that are angry, and the people who lost their movie should feel awful, and they should be a little bit angry. But when tempers settle down, we need to turn and look at the actual culprit, and it's not the guy who cut the movie. It's the person who greenlit the movie. It's the group of people who greenlit Wonder Twins, the same people who greenlit Batgirl, greenlit Wonder Twins. So if I'm coming in after dropping $46 billion and I have a plan that my legacy is going to be attached to, and I got Wonder Twins happening and a Batgirl movie that doesn't meet the standards, I can't blame that on Zaslav. I got to blame that on the people who set it in motion. So I understand what you're saying, but you got to look at it from the person who has the most risk and liability in this game going forward, and they got to get this right.
Yeah. Am I the only guy who feels that the Suicide Squad was made so quick? Like it wasn't even shot. Like they didn't shoot it the time like when the Snyder Cut was out. They shot it way back. It seems like it was at work before they even announced it. That's an issue I had with the old regime. They would announce something, and then 2 weeks it's there. It's done. It's like they've been.
In my opinion, neither Suicide Squad should have been released. That's just me.
Both
of them. Concept.
I agree. Suicide Squad should not have been, and I like the Suicide Squad.
I like the Suicide Squad, and only because it's James Gunn that I accept it. It's a good movie, but it doesn't really count to a continuity.
Exactly. It's just
they killed people who are not supposed to be killed, and
it comes from nothing and it leads to nothing. Now I'm going to give you an example. We were talking about this earlier tonight on a different stream. I stream too much, by the way. We talked about James Gunn. We took one director in two different movies. Now, the Talking Raccoon and that movie did well, not because it was a great movie on its own. You could, whether you feel about it or not, but because it was in the tapestry of an entire storyline that it was connected to, and you could anticipate you. It was part of the Infinity Saga to begin with. Now, that same guy, that's the same guy who gave you the Talking Raccoon gave you a really good The Suicide Squad movie. But not enough people went and saw it because they were so confused because it exists in the same universe that all this other stuff is supposed to exist, but you haven't resolved everything around it. So it's like throwing a frisbee out in the ocean, expecting it to come back to you. You have to put things in the proper situation.
And then to make a show like Peacemaker, which is great, by the way. I still want to see it. Here's the problem: you're connecting it to something that, first of all, you're connecting to something that we don't even know the answer to. You couldn't even put Superman and Wonder Woman on that goddamn thing. So it was good. So it was a fun scene. It was great to see Barry and Aquaman. But here's the questions: which Justice League are we using? That's a huge problem when you don't even know which Justice League you're using. Now,
what are we doing? What is the point of them showing up? What are they going to do?
I would like to answer this that Williams got on screen. Who's to say that would be successful past the Pentology? The Snyder Cut, great. It was great. The Snyder movies in the DC were good. But you can't just automatically say that because of a few members of the fans that the Snyder Cut would automatically be the successful outline.
I got a better thing to say. It was a 5-movie plan. This wasn't a universe.
I
understand this was a 5-movie plan, not a 20, not an epic spectacle. A 5-movie plan. That's it. Whether they want to spin off of it, that's fine. But
where I will agree with you, Follow 11th, is even with the no matter what the number of the plan was, whether it be 5 or 20, and it was more than likely 5 because that's what he said. Because it never got finished is where the problem is.
Yeah.
Resolution heals all. If the Snyderverse had a fit ending there would be a stable platform to jump off into whatever you want. But because there wasn't resolution to it, everything they do, and you are right to suspect this. You're a byproduct of what I'm talking about, because everything going forward is suspect, no matter who's running the company, because of the resolutions that didn't happen prior. That's why, regardless to how anybody feels about the Snyderverse, I don't care what it is, you must finish it. You must finish it to establish your credibility going forward.
Let me put it this way. It's like if you cut off the freaking Dark Knight trilogy and you never let it finish, no matter what Nolan said. And Nolan said explicitly, no spin-offs. We don't know if Snyder said no spin-offs, no anything after this. We don't know. We really don't know. So, to be honest, this is very frustrating in the sense that we never got to see the answers to this, and I would like to see it finished. But
and then we can move on. Then we can move on.
You don't want to do anything. You want to reboot it, fine. Reboot it after you're done, cool. But be done with it, because
and that's why we're rebooting. I just want to squeeze the eyeballs out of the skulls of people using reboot. I'm like, reboot from what? Reboot from what? You mean you need to know where the hell you're at. It's like in the Army when we had our land navigation. You ain't getting nowhere until you know where the hell you're at. Until you know where your Greek coordinates. Yeah, you don't know where you're at.
I'm with the people. I say reboot it. Reboot it from nothing, William. Let's do it from nothing.
You have nothing.
How can you reboot when you have nothing?
Reboot that nothing. Give us something. Just give us
you
something.
Can't do that.
Well, then that doesn't count as a reboot. If there's nothing, there's nothing. It's not a reboot. It's a start.
We've got the characters, even though the actors don't want to do it too. I mean, Superman, Henry Cavill. I know what his problem is. We're waiting for him.
It's not a problem. It's all he wants his money, and I don't blame him.
It's like doubling. You tell me to turn my $100 bill into $200, but I didn't even have $100, so I have no.
Print it. That's what we're saying.
Yeah,
make something up and reboot it, and then sell us something, man. Because we already were here, but don't come and make changes. And fire people, and because you didn't like it.
People need to be fired. People need. I'm sorry,
right now,
man.
Yeah. No. I mean, not the same.
I know what you're talking about. As
they did to Zack Snyder. I mean, when the thing is already done.
I don't think that's ever going to happen again, because of some of the people that are being brought on. Like, you're bringing on Alan Horn, who, dude, one of the best cinematic executives in the last 40 years. You're bringing him on to really build a bedrock for this. So he knows the people to bring in. I'm Jeff Robinoff. There's a lot of names that got chased away from Warner because of the management. There's a lot of people that got passed over that should have been in management positions that are not there with other companies. But when Alan Horn speaks, people listen. Alan Horn brings that credibility and respect. He knows the structure that he helped build over in Disney, and he knows what Zaslav was wanting. And there's anybody that can interpret that in. Here's the one thing I need a lot of people to do, and that includes myself. I'm having to get better at this. The weight of the last 9 years is like a boulder we just need to put down and let that weight off of us. We need to open our arms to be able to at least give this a shot. And it's tough, I know, because we've been inundated with nothing but mediocrity for a very long time. But that's gone. There's nothing we can do about that. We can't get that time back. We can take a look at what this guy is looking at and saying that he's going to prioritize the Trinity, that he's going to build something stable, that he's going to listen to factors that actually lead to good building structure, storytelling, and getting the right people in place, and that he's not going to do it just for the quick buck to make quarterly earnings and certain thing. He's going to do this going forward. And in order for him to do that, like I said, you can't build a new house without destroying the old one.
Zaslav himself came on to the investors call and said, quality over quantity. Okay.
And how did these Marvel guys get a hand in DC? Oh my gosh! Like the previous regime just gave me a headache, because I mean, we have the directors of Miss Marvel directing Batgirl. We had the director of Suicide Squad who directed a Marvel movie, and then who in DC is doing vice versa? Like, do we have somebody in Marvel from DC directing something? Do we have these things? To me, it seems like
okay. So both companies share a lot of things.
Right.
In fact, the last episode of Peacemaker was actually filmed on the Marvel lot.
Yeah, I get that, but was there any? Well, it's James Gunn. Like I said, James Gunn is directing
me-
a Marvel thing, a Marvel movie,
Here's the
two
answer to the
Marvel
question.
movies. So it could have been like at his house. God knows when they say Marvel, because he's got 2 movies. But the fact that he's able to go to DC and direct something else, and we don't have something vice versa. Do we have a
Here's
director
why.
from DC?
Here's why, SK. DC hasn't been putting out enough content to really have that kind of traffic. Look at how much that's a big problem with DC right now. Look what they don't put anything out. James Gunn makes up for like a quarter.
I'm talking about directors going in there. We don't have like actual human beings who go to that studio and do something, and then they speak about, hey, I'm from DC, I'm Marvel doing this.
Directors,
but
we have good directors.
We have Marvel.
You can't say guys like James Wan aren't good directors. They're good directors, but
they are awesome directors.
They're directors. It's not like Marvel's handicapping their directors to this ridiculous extent.
No, they can go where they want to, but it's just the point.
Exactly, that's what I'm asking. Like James Wan, why doesn't James Wan go to a Marvel?
Because James Wan doesn't want to tie himself to Marvel. James Wan wants to make his own studio.
No. I think you're not understanding my question. I mean, just to go there, not to just quit or whatever, to go to use the equipment to shoot whatever, and then his name gets tied into Marvel, just like how they tie James Gunn, how they're tying all these things. Marvel's, they're able to tie their name with DC and then have no repercussions. That's my issue.
James Gunn was working on both films simultaneously. When they shot certain things, he's working on both films simultaneously. So
Kevin Feige visited the studios. You know what I mean? Apparently, Kevin.
Well, they're friends. Listen, these
went to DC years ago.
Yeah, these executives are not adversaries. These executives golf and eat steak with each other. These executives are discussing.
In fact, Zaslav talked to Feige for a good bit earlier this year.
That's the first time we've heard of something like that,
Yeah,
the old regime, but the old regime would literally we have James Gunn, guys. James Gunn went and shot a DC thing, and then he went back to use Marvel. He used Marvel's studios to shoot these things. Is what I'm saying, And we don't have that. We don't have like a James Wan went to Marvel to shoot a quick scene for DC. We don't have that, do we?
That and one side had better management. That was not reclusive. Look at you the people that you were dealing with that you're talking about weren't the most hospitable people when it came to sharing things within their own company. Now under Zaslav, I could see a situation where if there was a mutual director, and like say if it's James Wan, I'm just throwing a name out there, and James Wan's working on a picture with Marvel, and he's also doing some projects for DC. I could see them sharing studios, but it's just what you're asking. The answer to your question, in my opinion, is previous managers were a bunch of jackasses who, like I said, they didn't care about interacting with the business and the business people. They didn't have that interaction. They weren't people, and they weren't even people amongst executives. Whereas a guy like Zaslav and guys like Feige, literally, they hang out. I mean, they discuss things. Feige's always said he hangs out and says he wants DC to be successful because better comic book movies make sure a better landscape for his stuff to do better. They're not adversarial. True. With the old regime, it was adversarial, but they fought with each other, let alone they were never going to pick up the phone with another studio.
I mean, look,
thing,
we have Namor coming out. We will never hear Marvel say, oh, no, we went to James Wan to check out some Aquaman, and we did this and this, and the Aquaman set for Namor. And we won't hear that. But I'm telling you now, we'll hear in the future that a Marvel director went to go use a DC studio to create a Marvel content. You know what I mean?
Because of the situation, SK. There was a situation there that was, if there was a situation where James Wan, if they had to use mutual studios under the current regime, they would. But the situation you're referring to was when they were doing, I think it was reshoots or something, adding on for Peacemaker while he was still working on a Marvel Y. So there was a situation there. Go ahead, man.
Hey, William, I'm going to go ahead and drop out, guys.
All right, Dave. We got about 15, 20 minutes left. But yeah, thanks for coming on. Okay, and
of course.
Like I said, I'll probably see you, unfortunately, somewhere else down the line. You and your brother here, Thade.
Unfortunately, you know you're going to see me all the time, dude.
I mean, you're your co-host. I mean, you got to get stuck with them.
Yeah.
Where you guys from, actually? Where's the rest of the team from? Vegas? We've got
Yeah, I'm in Vegas. Those two are from hell. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Actually, with the weather here in Texas, it feels like hell. It was 115 with
Texas.
85% humidity.
Holy
Jeez,
cow!
those
Sucks,
numbers
man.
make no sense to me because we use degrees Celsius.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So about
That's
46
hilarious.
about 46 degrees Celsius.
You're
With
playing, dude.
no, I'm
You're
not.
playing. That is so. I'm complaining about the heat, right? I'm on like 21 room temperature.
We're seriously getting fried to death out here,
What?
and and the
That is-
humidity is bad, man.
That's insane, man.
I know where
Wow.
Brodan's from because I'm planning to rob Brodan. But what you are in? Aren't you
But
What
fellas,
time is
anyway,
it?
I'm gonna
Is
say
it- is it-
I'm gonna say
Is
talk to y'all later. SK for me, it is 2:00 in the morning, so
and it's 40 degrees.
40 Celsius. Well, right now, it would be about 34 degrees Celsius right now.
You guys say hell, dude. No way is it 2:00. It's 30 degrees.
It's
That's crazy.
horrible out here. It's horrible.
That is not even for an African to say that's crazy, then just know that you guys are
Right? All right, guys.
Wow, man. I have a good one, bro.
All right. Good night, guys. It's good talking to you, SK.
I treat, man.
Because I am tired.
Wow.
So, I mean, I work 100 hours a week, man. I mean, sorry. I'll try to. I don't have a fountain of youth or whatever Plus, this is the end of my day, and like I said, I've been dealing with 100-degree heat. But yeah, I literally, by the time I get to this stream, I have another gig that I do 40 hours there, and I spend about maybe 60 to 65 hours a week at the center, and then whatever time I'm on the air. So yeah, I look tired because a lot of times I am tired.
So what day is it for you, William? Is it like Saturday, Sunday?
We have about 8 more minutes left in Saturday. It's 11:52 p.m. here Pacific time. I'm in Vegas. I'm from Los Angeles.
Wow.
All right, as you know, this microphone that I have right now, let me know if you can hear me better. But this current temporary setup that I have, there's not a lot of surface here for me to put the mic, so it's actually further away from me than the GG is. That's why if you watched us last night, I actually held the mic up to here. Under the new setup, when I move everything forward, I'll have a boom, and you'll actually see the mic as part of it of my setup. So hopefully that answers your question, and that's why because the mic is really far away from me.
Oh, maybe the guests are younger. Young guys are just loud in general. So there's
yeah. Well, plus they'd like to stream over me. So yeah. So there you go. But yeah, I'm originally from LA. I ended up in Vegas after basic training. My parents moved to Vegas while I was still a minor, so I was technically stuck with them. My plan was to open up my store, which is called the Sci-Fi Center in San Bernardino, California, where the greater LA area, which is where I grew up. But I put roots down here, and it just became easier and cheaper for me to do it here. So that's how I got here.
No, man, I'm from a village which is like, I think 100 k's from here. 100 k's will be 50 miles from the city where I stay now. So I was born there, but I didn't really grow up there. So I moved to the city, which is called Polokwane, and then my brother's also in the army. So yeah, when you say army, I'm just like, oh, that's effing dope. But he's a DJ, so we're all artists. I'm like an artist, but I'm a station manager now where I work. Obviously,
I was born in Berlin. I was born in Berlin because my dad was in the Air Force. I'm third generation military. My dad was in the Air Force. I was born 200 feet away from what was the Berlin Wall. So I've been back there. I've been all over the world, but I've always wanted to visit South Africa because in school I followed South African history and South African politics. That was my special. That and Eastern European politics. I go back to F.W. de Klerk.
We love our politics, man.
Yeah,
we love it. We love it.
I was there when apartheid, and that's how old I am. I was there. I watched apartheid end on live television when they released Nelson Mandela after 27 years. I watched F.W. de Klerk become the first president to do that. Yep,
I was there.
So these things, when I hear somebody from South Africa, I like I said, I just love to dive into it because I don't think it's a part of Africa that gets a lot of news, a lot of publication, and the history of it, and the dynamics of South Africa have caused a lot of friction, but they're also fascinating as well.
Yeah, man. When you come here, don't go to the main place. That's what I always tell people. Don't go to the main cities. I know there's always Cape Town, Joburg. Do not go because obviously, because it's the main cities, that's where the main crimes are.
That's the same in America.
Yeah, so if you want to stay chilled, you know, just when you get there, you can just ask, where's the Garden of Eden? Where's the place where I can find just the Eden of South Africa? They'll point you my direction. I live in more like the Eden side. So there's a
Wow.
beautiful, it's just the air is clean as F, guys. Like I'm telling you now, why like it's 21 degrees, man, and in South Africa, you guys are at 40 degrees.
Oh,
We've never had that number before,
Yeah.
like ever. We've never.
you would have some problems here. Let me answer Fallout 11's questions. Okay, and what do you guys think in the chat? Okay, I'll answer it too. What do you guys think in the chat about those unannounced Marvel projects from Phase 5, Phase 6? Anything you guys want to see specifically? Right now, they're giving me everything I actually want as far as Marvel goes. I think there's actually too much coming down the pike. The things that I'm looking forward now are all things that they have announced. I'm looking forward to Secret Invasion big time. That has been the project that I've wanted to see. It was one of my favorite storylines in the comics. And it's also, even if they loosely adapt Secret Invasion, I still think it's going to be great. I'm not looking forward to Secret Wars because I think when it becomes a multiverse thing, a lot of the times you tackle the multiverse as a response to a mess that the multiverse has made. So I'm kind of wary of that. I'm looking forward to the Kang Dynasty because Kang is one of my all-time favorite and most intriguing enemies out of there. But as far as anything that they haven't announced yet, I would like, okay, so things that they haven't announced, I would like to see like how they come about Apocalypse. Because Apocalypse, Rama Tut, which is a version of Kang and Nathaniel Richards, journeys back 5,000 years to cultivate in Salvador, who becomes Apocalypse. So he knows he's there. Apocalypse is widely considered the very first mutant. So I would like to see how they tie that into the
I would like to see that,
so.
and I would like to see for some redemption because of the last debacle, including Apocalypse. So I think they'll do a better job this time around.
Yeah, I mean Professor Ooze or Isaac. Oscar Isaac, which is a great.
He did the best job he could, but you have to understand something. We don't.
I hope the end of She-Hulk that Hulk is not talking anymore. He needs to lose his speech. Why is Hulk talking to us with glasses? He's wearing glasses. He needs to like lose his eyesight. At the end of She-Hulk, you know, at the end of She-Hulk, he has to somehow lose his speech capabilities and his eyesight.
I would like to say about Apocalypse, though. Apocalypse, wow, I think is given a little bad rap, but you have to understand something. Fox never had the rights to Apocalypse's actual origin and look, because remember, it had to do with Celestials, and at the time, MCU had the right to Celestials. So then Fox never had the rights to actually do Apocalypse 100% correctly.
Now they can do it because Celestials it's part of it, but like I said, I now that we're dealing with Kang and we're dealing with the versions of Kang, I think it's going to be really cool to have these versions of Kang.
I was hoping to get some hint to it in Eternals, but we never did. But
you know where I think you're going to see it. I could be totally wrong. In the post credits of Ant-Man: Quantum Realm, I think they are going to.
I think you're going to see something there.
I think he's going to end up beating. They're going to end up finding a way to beat Kang for this particular time, and he is going to basically put on his Rama Tut gear, and he's going to go back and say, you know what, I need some backup. I need to change the game. So
and you'll hear In Sahab Noor being chanted, and I swear I'm gonna it's gonna be awesome. Because I'm not gonna lie, the first time you saw him at the end of X-Men: Days of Future Past, which is a masterpiece in my opinion,
moving the pyramids.
Oh my god! I was like,
yeah, that's a perfect movie. That's a perfect movie.
Nailed. I was like, you know what? I'm hyped, but you know, of course, never had the right.
It's Marvel. Yeah, it's Marvel. I
need to see certain things. Like I said, Apocalypse, but he needs to be 100% CGI or motion capture.
Yeah,
I don't need to see. Apocalypse is a huge, giant, shape-shifting, godlike figure. Please do CGI. I know practical effects. There's a time and place for practical effects. It's not when I see Inside Manure.
It's good for a Predator movie, but for this, make them show out, you know. And they did a bit of that in Age of Apocalypse in Carl's mind, but they didn't do it enough outside of it. We need to see him be a badass. And I didn't
like the Monitor. He mustn't look like the Flash's Monitor. Or Monitor, whatever his name was, because it looked like it was the same CGI company.
Oh, Monitor Anima. Yeah, that was dreadful.
Yeah, that was.
Fall 11th. Maybe have Kang introduce Apocalypse in Avengers 5 or 6 and keep him on to become the big bad. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways you can do it.
I would do it.
Yeah,
he has to be the big bad for the X-Men, but they don't have to put him in so soon. Just build him up, because it would be nice to build him up as the big villain. because he is a huge villain, huge. So
Yeah, he literally, like I said, he literally is, you know, the main guy. He got introduced back in 1985 in X Factor #5. And that's when that's where Apocalypse. There's been 25 years of X-Men history before we ever saw Apocalypse, and even then we saw him in Shadows. Within 2 years, actually, yeah, 2 years. By the time Fall of the Mutants came about, Apocalypse was one of their deadliest enemies. And then once you saw the order of things, where who was working for who, you know, Apocalypse was the top of the food chain. Sinister and everybody else was under them. And all these things that happened, and then, like I said, I mean, the Chris Claremont era did so much for enemies like Mr. Sinister, Apocalypse, and things like that. That then when we did our thing, Theta's gone, but we did a deep dive of the Chris Claremont era, and Apocalypse and Mr. Sinister were a big part of it.
I mean, if you played the game X-Men, is it X-Men? The arcade game with this Omega Red.
Omega Red. Oh, I remember that game.
Yeah, Apocalypse.
Game.
Apocalypse plays him and is it when Dr. Xavier and Magneto combined together? Those two characters.
Yeah, it was Onslaught. Yeah, it was Onslaught too.
Onslaught. Those two characters.
With Onslaught.
Onslaught. We'll never see Onslaught in our lives. Let's forget about that because I mean, we know what's happening with Marvel.
On a TV show, maybe on a TV show. I don't know if they'll do a movie, but I can see him
pretty OP villain. They could
exactly,
but they could do it. I just don't see them doing it in the foreseeable future, but they could do it.
No, Hulk is an OP character too. I mean, they just un-OP'd him.
The cool thing about more of that. Yeah, the cool thing about Onslaught, which a lot of people don't know this, is Bishop. When Bishop came in, he brought in stories of the ex-traitor, and for a long time, like 3 or 4 more years, they really slowly built up to the ex-traitor, and it would end up being Onslaught. It ended up being Professor X, which I love. I'm gonna answer Giovanni Martinez's question or statement. They'll probably go down the Magneto route again for the. I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so either.
I think Magneto will be relevant and he will be prevalent.
He will be relevant presence, but he won't be the main villain.
I think the main villain for them, I think Magneto will be a villain. I don't know if they'll do an origin story because a lot of people are going away from origin stories. So you could be right.
We don't need an origin story again.
Because I don't know if you could do his origin story better than they did it in the very first X-Men movie.
No,
but
they killed it.
I really think Apocalypse because it ties into a character that they already have. You already have the
Celestials, the Eternals, all of it.
Yeah, so I would say that we could be wrong. We're sitting here, nerds guessing.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was really disappointed they never even made any real mention of it in Eternals. It would have really started something big at that point to kind of get the X-Men into overdrive. Because let's be honest, he's the first mutant. I never really liked Eternals for what they did. They changed a lot of the comic storyline.
Oh, dude! Listen, blasphemy! I liked Eternals. I didn't love Eternals, but it was a placeholder.
I think it was cool. The director loves Zack Snyder's Justice League, so I love the director more than the movie.
All right, problem I have with it. Erisham the Judge speaking. Celestials do not talk to humans. We are ants. We are nothing to them. Communicating with us will be like you needing to communicate with a cricket out on the sidewalk.
Speaking English, in fact.
Yeah, he's like, I need to talk to you guys. I'm like, Eric, we are so, and it was the coolest thing about the Celestials is that mysterious thing about them. I'm like,
they should have done the same thing they did with Prey, the movie, where the language is basically the same throughout the whole entire movies, like from Predator 1. If you check out the languages that's on the Predator's armor, you can see that it's all the same language.
Those
things don't speak. Oh, sorry, but is that a spoiler though? I mean, that's interesting stuff.
Because there's other things in there that have his language on it. One of them really does some killing.
That's a crazy movie.
Mutant Massacre would be great. Man, you have to build up. You would have to build up the X-Men storyline. I would love for them to do this. Mutant Massacre is one of my favorite all-time storylines. You would have to build up the X-Men thing to the point where it would actually matter, because what they did, Mutant Massacre is a story, for those of you who don't know, took place in 1986. It was the first major Marvel crossover with the X-Men. After that, it was an annual thing for the next 15, 20 years. But Mutant Massacre was the first. And what they had done is, and then they would tie it back to Sinister and Dark Beast and all that. But prior to that, It was they introduced the Marauders, and they slaughtered a lot of supporting characters, some characters that we didn't know of, but they had built up the Morlocks for a few years before, and then they slaughtered them all. So they'd probably have to get to a point in the storyline to where that would be relevant to the people you killed matter. But the one thing about the Mutant Massacre, and this is another thing we went through, if you guys want to go back and look up the Sci-Fi Center Presents and look up the Chris Claremont episode that we did, Chris Claremont had so much freedom that he had freedom that other writers did not have at the time. The Mutant Massacre was a brutal story, even in 1986 for Marvel. DC was doing brutal stuff with The Dark Knight and all this, but Marvel was not. It was Fantastic Four, Avengers, and then you had literally in 1986, we're not talking about 2022, mass murder, which is what the Mutant Massacre was. It was mass murder, people getting shot at point blank range, implied death. I mean, just getting horribly killed. And that storyline was so ground shaking for 1986. I would love to see them do it now. I don't know if it would have the, because we're surrounded by death and mass destruction and mass shootings. I don't know if it'll have the resonance that it did, or maybe it'll push some trigger buttons for people. But that would be something if they could ever put Mutant Massacre on.
We know it won't have violence. We know it won't have violence because Marvel's got a thing for violence. We know that X-Men is not going to be as violent as it used to be. That's a fact. Because not even Deadpool is violent. This Deadpool, it's a funny, violent movie, you know?
Yeah. Mutant Massacre is not that kind of violent. Mutant Massacre is Scalp Hunter taking a character that we knew, one of the Tommy from the Hellfire Club, and pinning him down and saying, no more guns for you, no more anything, as he's reaching for his gun, and him shooting him point blank. And them chasing his girlfriend around a corner, and her power was to become thin and move through things, and she was a rainbow-looking character. That's how she, that was her power. And you see her getting killed off screen, and you see all that rainbow getting put out like it was blood. Oh,
that's so cool.
Actually. It was the violence that Chris Claremont could get away with because of his success with X-Men. I don't know if people are ready for it when it comes to MCU and DC. That was dark stuff. It was beautiful, though. It shaped my childhood. So it made me the triple D, death, destruction, and dismemberment craving devil that I am now. Thank you, Chris Claremont.
What about Capcom, guys? Marvel adding Capcom to the roster, is that a good idea? I mean, we have Marvel versus Capcom. We have a hunger for Street Fighter. We have a hunger for Street Fighter.
I'm not a Capcom guy. I'm not a Cap. I just don't like.
I'm not a subject matter expert on it. I'm sorry, man.
Oh, you guys never played Street Fighter back in the day?
The last.
Oh yeah, that I did.
That last one I liked was Street Fighter 4, but these new ones, it looks terrible for me at least. But I'm not a fan. You know what it is? I will say this: DC has such a better look on their video games, especially the arcade stuff. Injustice is 10 times above anything Marvel has with fighting, and that's not not Marvel, but it's just the truth.
That new game that they're testing out, it's the Titans one. What is it called?
It's called. Is it the Teen Titans one?
No, not the Teen Titans. The new one.
You're talking about Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights.
Yeah, Gotham Knights looks. It just looks so nice. It looks.
I wouldn't say that. It looks pretty lazy, in my opinion. It looks nice, maybe graphically, but it looks pretty lazy. A lot of the playthrough looks very lazy. I saw some of the playthrough. I'm not happy about it. I don't like the Red Hood playthrough at all. It looks awful, in my opinion. I don't like the way they did some of the costumes at all. That's just me.
Hey, Monkey Jeebus, I was tired. I am guilty. I watched the English. I did not do the Comanche version. I will now because I'm going to watch this movie over again because I think it's great. But I watched the English version. I have.
What games are you guys playing by chance? Like I'm more like a DBZ guy, so I'm playing like Fighter Z. I know there's a championship coming.
I don't play any games. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
I just don't have the time. I have an addictive personality, and I learned this when I first opened up my store. And here's how I learned that I needed to stay away from all things like this. When I started playing Magic the Gathering, holy cow. It dominated my mind. I could not get away from that game, even when we would hold tournaments that would last all night. I would be at my other job. I worked at Walmart at the time. This was back in the 90s. I worked at Walmart, and I would be pulling a pallet jacket thinking, how can I make combos to defeat people? I didn't even know who I was going to be playing. I had a red and I still have it. I have a red and blue deck, which is a no creatureless direct magic, direct damage deck. And I would be thinking, no matter where I was, I could be at Kmart getting food, McDonald's. I was thinking about combos and every type of potential combo that I could defeat. and I would play it all night long. We would close up the store, and we would at 7:00 and 7:00 p.m. till 7:00 a.m. we were playing, and we didn't have time limits. We just played till you were gone. And I'm like, oh my goodness! And then
I
now,
remember those days.
if I imagine me now with video games and networking and wearing these cat ears to play Brodan or somebody else in South Africa, I would be 300 pounds now. I would be 300 pounds. I wouldn't be able to leave the house. I would be in poor health. I would probably pass out and die on there because I would never get exercise. I have an addictive personality.
Once and you get paid for it nowadays.
Yeah.
You get paid for it, so that's even worse.
You don't even have to be good. Once I get into something, I get into it. And gaming, I would look like Fat Albert. I would look. My beard would be down to my knees. I would lose control. I would never want to leave the game, and I would never get any sleep. I would get fired from my job.
Jokes Enosh wants to.
No, I just feel like Dragon Ball Z.
Is he here?
I don't know. He wasn't earlier. He was apparently laughing at me, but
that was him doing that.
Okay, you see, Dragon Ball Z, guys, is a franchise which is begging for it. I don't know why people are looking at that gold mine and be like, you know what? We don't want to do that.
I don't think you can adapt it to live action movie. I really don't.
And you can. I think you can, because I mean, if you watch Man of Steel, right? That's Dragon Ball Z. Man of Steel, the same story. The story of a kid coming from another planet, landing on Earth, and him flying around. That's Dragon Ball Z. Finished. And
a little bit more.
Well, the monkey tail. You just add a monkey tail, and that's it. I'm telling you guys. Well,
I mean, they based Goku off of Superman for inspiration, but Dragon Ball Z is just a little different. Animation is just a different beat.
This transformation. I mean, we have like
speaking of violence, by the way, Dragon Ball Z ain't for weaklings.
Yeah, no, it's not. But the games are good. You know, the story's there. It's literally, if you take out a Dragon Ball Z movie, because the first movie, like, it sucked for Dragon Ball Z fan, you're gonna make $1 billion or $2 billion. Guaranteed if it's a good story. I'm telling you guys now.
That's a tough one, man.
There's an episode of Dragon Ball Z which shut down a city. Like in Italy, these guys in Italy had to close down a city to watch these 2 episodes. It was a special episode. It was an hour long. But to shut down a city in Italy to watch an episode, not even a movie, an episode of like Goku going into a new mode, that just shows that there's a hunger for these things, you know?
All right, guys. Well, you know what? I have done with the banner said. I have taken you from August 6th to August 7th officially, and in your case, SK, way into August 7th. Thank you all for taking. Saturday nights are tough. Saturday nights, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff on TV. There's a lot of places you could be this time of night. Thank you for everybody who showed up both on panel and on in the chat room and did super chats, for spending that time with us. And like I said, this Saturday night thing, I'm starting to love it more and more. Once I get my new laptop, screw you, HP, I will be doing we will resume our normal stream back at the Sci-Fi Center Live, which is on Saturdays, 6:30 p.m. But we will not give up the Saturday night stream. I really love the feel of the show. I love what it's become, and I like the interaction I get to have with you guys. So thank you, Thade. Earlier, thank you, Brodan, and thank you, SK, for chiming in. It was good to get your perspective, and you're always welcome. All right, Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, guys.